One man is being victimized by our own government. One man whom they fear, yet who millions love. One man who is willing to take the poison arrows of lawfare. One man whose voice has been taken away by a corrupt judge operating in a corrupt system. One man who has been ridiculed and insulted. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who stands between us and them. One man that wants to see America protected again. One man who wants to see America prosper again. One man who understands that a man is a man and a woman is a woman. One man who understands and protects the blessing of life. One man who wants to restore American exceptionalism. One man who once again wants to make America that shining city on a hill for all to see. A place where all the people of the world glowingly set their eyes upon. America. One man who unashamedly wants to make America great again. That one man is Donald Trump.
This is Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
Welcome, everybody, to the afternoon show. Instead of the normal 1:30, because of this morning, I had to push this back right now to the middle slot, we'll call it. But today will be the end show. So there won't be an evening show. We're just going to do this. But it's a good show we have planned. If everything goes okay, if we hit all of our time deadlines, we should be pretty good. So let me tell you what's going to happen. At 3:45, in about 10 minutes or so, we've got a press conference, which should be pretty cool. It's with Pam Bondi and Kristi Noem. They're going to be talking about, what's the topic? They're going to be talking about ice raids. So we're going to hear from Pam Bondi and Kristi Noem. Then at 4:15, we have John Rich coming on for an interview. So that should be very, very interesting. John Rich, country music star, who's been very, very vocal about politics lately. And I'm really looking forward to that. He doesn't know, he won't ever remember that I met him a long time ago. I'm saying 1990. Let's see, when did Rob and I get married? So 96 or 97. He was with a different band back then, and they played at one of my shows, but I'll mention that to him. It'll be a walk down memory lane for sure. Just to let you guys know also, there's something really, really big happening. So you know about what happened yesterday where they blew up the boat that had the narco traffickers on it. We're trying to bring in a whole bunch of yayo or whatever. Well, incidentally, Marco Rubio was in Mexico today doing a press conference. I want you to listen to this. It's very short, but it'll give you an idea as to where President Trump and the people around him stand right now. They're not playing. They're not playing.
The United States has long, for many, many years, established intelligence that allow us to interdict and stop drug boats. And we did that. And it doesn't work. Interdiction doesn't work because these drug cartels, what they do is they know they're going to lose, 2% of their cargo. They bake it into their economics. What will stop them is when you blow them up, when you get rid of them. The President of the United States is going to wage war on narco-terrorist organizations. This one was operating in international waters, headed towards the United States to flood our country with poison, and under President Trump, those days are over.
Under President Trump, those days are over. So, see, what Marco was saying is back in the day, like a couple of years ago, you know, hey, don't do that. You shouldn't be bringing drugs into America. We're not going to stand for that. We're going to make sure we have a war on drugs. And it was never a war on drugs. It was like, okay, it's all coming in. Now, after what you saw yesterday, it is a war on drugs. Make no mistake about it. They're going to be dropping bombs on people's heads, which is unbelievable because it's going to let the bad guys know you're not going to see it coming. You think you've loaded up this boat, this go-fast boat, and you're going to just try flying and try to do all these different things, and you're never going to know. It's not going to be on your radar. You can't look over your shoulder. You can't wire ahead and pay off somebody in customs. Just imagine that. You're just driving. You have no idea. You think it's home free. As long as I hit this point, I can dump this stuff overboard and somebody else will come pick it up and I made a good payday. And all of a sudden, boom. No advance warning, no notice. You just get vaporized. How many bad guys do you think at this point are going to want to continue running this stuff up this route? You know, some of them may get forced to at gunpoint and say, you got to bring this into whatever city. But it's not going to help you. You can't see it. By the time you see it, it's too late. It's done. Boom. That's what they have to look forward to under President Trump. And so I pulled this down earlier, and this was an interview that Pete Hegseth did on Fox and Friends this morning. I think I can sneak it in before they start. I don't see them starting, but if they come up, I'll pull this up. I'll pull them up, and then we'll take back Pete's interview after this, because his is taped. Pam Bondi and Kristi Noem would be live. So listen to what Pete had to say.
Personnel from the Department of Homeland Security are already staging at Great Lakes Naval Base just north of Chicago. Secretary Kristi Noem has promised enhanced immigration enforcement in Chicago. President Trump has been saying that the troops are imminent in Chicago. He just won't say when. Governor Pritzker said yesterday that Texas National Guardsmen are already staging in Illinois. I called a contact with the Texas governor's office yesterday who said that's not true.
From a city that they say everything is fine. What did Mike just say? 7 more people shot since the last time he did a report. That's not normal. Mm-hmm. It's not a normal way of life in one city, 7 people to be shot ever since his last report.
Meanwhile, it's a different story in Washington, D.C. after Donald Trump sent in the National Guard. And now the mayor is opening the door for the federal policing continuing. She's signing an executive order because she's seeing the numbers go down and seeing so many positive results. 1,669 total arrests since August 7th. 16 known gang members arrested, including MS-13 and Tren de Aragua gang members. Look at this. 5 missing children have been rescued. 168 firearms have been seized. 50 homeless encampments have been cleared up.
So can we just take a step back? What the left planned was for this to be a 30-day thing and that the mayor was supposed to shut down the president. Well, lo and behold, it's working. I mean, you just showed the numbers, Ainsley, the amount of guns off the street, the amount of murderers, the people that are involved in criminal enterprises, illegal aliens within inside of the country. And so she's saying, I'm not even going to make this a political thing. I'm just going to extend it. There won't be a constitutional crisis of what the president can do and can't do because I'm going to support him.
He just, over the last few minutes, literally shot out a boat, a drug-carrying boat, a lot of drugs in that boat, a lot of drugs pouring into our country, coming in for a long time. And these came out of Venezuela and coming out very heavily from Venezuela. A lot of things are coming out of Venezuela.
It comes as Secretary of State Marco Rubio visits Mexico and Ecuador for meetings about dismantling drug cartels as the U.S. deploys warships and more than 4,500 service members to the region. This is the first known operation of its kind. According to some reports, it's more common to interdict and seize vessels like this one.
The president's been very clear that he's going to use the full power of America and the full might of the United States to take on and eradicate these drug cartels, no matter where they're operating from and no matter how long they've been able to act with impunity. Those days are over. We are going to wage combat against drug cartels that are flooding American streets and killing Americans.
Joining us now is...
Okay, so before I get to Pete, understand what he just said. We are going to wage combat. We are not going to be the Department of Defense. We are not going to be something that reacts. We are going to be progressive. We are going to take the fight to you. We're not going to wait till this stuff gets on our shores and then figure out how we're going to stop the flow. We're going to stop it at the point of entry. And if that means some things get blown up, then they get blown up. Now, I don't know if you've noticed over the last, 2.5, 3 weeks, we have watched the Democrat Party openly embrace crime. It's got to make you think at this point, what is it about crime that these people like so much? They're terrified of what happened in Washington, and now Muriel Bowser's probably on their poop list because she's like, yeah, I'm going to keep the National Guard. They got to be freaking out. And you heard yesterday, what's his name, Pritzker and Brandon Johnson, they're freaking out because it's about to hit Chicago. And everybody knows what's going on in Chicago, and the Democrats are freaking out about that. But what happened today, I never thought I would ever see. And this is something that actually scared me. When the video came out about the boat going boom, the narco-terrorists being executed, the Democrats today are complaining about it. The Democrats are saying, how could you have done this? You didn't give them, quote, due process. Notice the word that Marco Rubio said. He said combat. That's not by accident. He is sending a message both to the Democrats and to the bad guys. This isn't a law enforcement situation. Now you're seeing it change all of a sudden. We are not here to enforce a law. We are here to protect America. And by protecting America, we are considering you an enemy combatant. And there is no due process. You get boom. That's how you do the difference here. And the Democrats are actually freaking out that these 11 people got vaporized for bringing these drugs in. And then they complained it was AI and all anything. Please don't hurt the criminals, not the people who are going to try and kill Americans. Oh, okay, wait till it gets on shore, and then wait until it gets distributed, and then find an ounce here or a kilo there, and then make the arrest there. And Trump's like, nope, we are striking hard before they even get here.
Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth. Pete, good morning to you, first of all.
Good morning.
Good morning. So the president
Great to see you all.
Good to see you too. Thanks for your service. The president put that video of him eviscerating, blowing up that boat coming across with all of the drugs on board. And the president said on social, on Truth Social, let them be on notice to anybody bringing drugs to the U.S. Beware. So the president is sending a message to other cartels, right?
A very clear one. I can tell you that was definitely not artificial intelligence. I watched it live. We knew exactly who was in that boat. We knew exactly what they were doing, and we knew exactly who they represented. And that was Tren de Aragua, a narco-terrorist organization designated by the United States, trying to poison our...
In case you're wondering why did it go blurry, that's me. In production, I said, these people here, they don't like it when you show things going boom. Oh, some people's nipples get hard or something. They get offended. They're all up in their fifis. And so I have to blur out that activity. I have to blur out weaponry, because if they see that, oh my gosh, you can't show real life on YouTube. But this is news. This is what happened. They blew up these things. Please don't show that. So that's why it's blurred.
Our country with illicit drugs. Last year, under the Biden administration, all 4 years, 100,000 Americans died from drug-related, from drugs, from the use of drugs, many of which poured in from Central and South America through our southwest border. Now, we're sealing the border. But President Trump is willing to go on offense in ways that others have not been. And to send that clear signal to Tren de Aragua, Cartel del Sols, and others emanating from Venezuela, we're not going to allow this kind of activity. You're poisoning our people. We've got incredible assets, and they are gathering in the region. And so you want to try to traffic drugs, it's a new day. It's a different day. And so those 11 drug traffickers are no longer with us, sending a very clear signal that this is an activity the United States is not going to tolerate in our hemisphere.
Well, Mr. Secretary, you made it very clear when we had the opportunity to visit the southern border at Fort Bliss, the Southern Command knew exactly where these folks were and that you guys were going to take them out. I guess the question is, for this operation specifically, was this a drone attack or was this hellfire from a helo?
I can't disclose precisely how this went down. I can tell you it was precision. It was
that right there got me. He's not even telling them that. He's not telling them whether it was a drone, whether it was a helicopter, whether it was a fighter jet. Nope, we don't even want you to wonder. All you're going to have to do is just be doing your little thing, and then all of a sudden, poof, you're done. That's combat. Not even, I can't believe Lawrence asked him that. You wanted us to let you know what the secrets are. We're not going to tell you the secrets, but we can show you the after effect. We can specifically show you what's going to happen if you do this to America.
Very well understood exactly what assets would be used in order to achieve the effect. So that's classified how it was done. But you can see publicly a lot of the assets that we have in the region, which to include an ARG-MU, which holds 2,200 combat infantry Marines and has plenty of its own organic assets. So we've got assets in the air, assets in the water, assets on ships. Because this is a deadly serious mission for us, and it won't stop with just this strike. Anyone else trafficking in those waters who we know is a designated narco-terrorist will face the same fate. And it's important for the American people to protect our homeland and protect our hemisphere.
So their leader.
Okay, so he just told everybody else, all the other bad guys out there, this is just one. We're going to keep doing this. If our satellites, if our intel, whatever we find out, if we see you coming across trying to bring in drugs, boom, we're going to light you up. And so somebody in the chat had said, who gets to volunteer for the next load? I don't know, but they're going to be wearing Depends, that's for sure. And then making sure they're right with God because, whoa, that's probably going to be your last run. I want to know, what are they going to do if it happens to be like on a cargo ship and it's a container? I mean, you're not going to blow up the entire ship, are you? Or maybe you're going to, surround it and board it. Imagine that. Imagine on a container someplace. Because these people are very deviant. They will find different ways. Remember, they have subs as well. Some of these narco-terrorists have submarines. So we're talking about truly a combat situation. And you have to wonder, how are they going to do it? Where are they going to do it? Where's the weak point that they'll try to exploit it somewhere, because now that they know the American government, the feds, the army is in on this, they are going to be quite freaked out.
Dora, who we put a $50 million bounty on his head, has called out to China for help in this. And China's condemning the U.S. And saying, I shouldn't use the word condemn. They're warning us we should look out for the different countries' integrity. Are you worried about China and their relationship with Venezuela, and how will that affect our policy?
No, the only person that should be worried is Nicolas Maduro, who's running effectively as a kingpin of a narco state, not actually elected, and indicted for $50 million by the United States. And we know he's involved in the types of drug running that has affected the American people directly. So China and other countries are going to say certain things, and that's their prerogative. What we have there in the Caribbean is a clear demonstration of military might. President Trump has shown, whether it's the southwest border, whether it's the Houthis in freedom of navigation, whether it's Midnight Hammer in Iran, that the precise application of American power can have incredible impacts and reshape dynamics around the world and in the region. So Nicolas Maduro.
I want to interrupt you, Pete. Not only in the region and around the world, but here in the United States, there have got to be so many people who have been enriched, no pun intended, enriched by what they've been doing for decades. We've always wondered, You know how yesterday we heard Brandon Johnson and J.B. Pritzker both talk about, you know what, these guns, they're not from here. They come from Indiana or someplace else. Well, we don't have poppy seeds. So forever, the heroin has been coming from somewhere else. We don't make yayo in mass quantities. So that yayo, that cocaine, has been coming from someplace else for decades and decades. All these illicit drugs, meth they make in labs here, but for the most part, all the stuff that's really bad, fentanyl, it all comes in from someplace else. And you were telling me, did the technology just catch up? Are we just now at the point where we can say we know exactly where these drugs are coming from? Or have we known all along, but we didn't do anything to stop it? There's been movie after movie after movie made about how they've been, bringing drugs across this big giant ocean, and somehow they land here on our shore. And as Marco said, they've always built in a 2% loss. In fact, it's like, here, go across the border, get caught, and when they all run over here, we're free to do it over here. Not anymore. Now it's a combat-ready situation. That is a big difference from anything we've done before. They've been telling you law enforcement versus military. And now you're seeing the difference, especially in regards to these drug interdictions.
As he considers whether or not he wants to continue to be a narco trafficker, has some decisions to make. And that's all I'll say about that.
Is regime change our goal there?
Well, that's a presidential decision, and we certainly understand the indictment. We understand the $50 million. Anyone would prefer that he would just give himself up, but that's a presidential level decision, and we're prepared with every asset that the American military has.
It's incredible that y'all were able to track that boat, know that there were 11 narco terrorists on board, and be able to take it out to prevent all those drugs from making it into the United States and killing so many teenagers, so many 20-year-olds, whoever's doing drugs in the U.S. So thank you for that. I don't know how you did it. I'm sure you have intel that you can't talk about. But let's talk about China this morning, because while we were sleeping, China was celebrating. They're having this parade in Tiananmen Square featuring a display of advanced equipment. And they invited Putin and they invited Kim Jong-un in attendance. So what message are they trying to send, and what is the administration's response?
Well, unfortunately, the weakness of the previous administration has driven Russia and China closer together. That was a terrible development of a lack of American leadership and a lack of American strength. And you saw it around the world. And it manifests in what we saw on TV last night. But that's why President Trump has charged us at the Defense Department to be prepared to rebuild our military in historic ways, to restore the warrior ethos and reestablish deterrence. Not because...
So once again, they're showing weaponry that people here, censors, don't like. But as he's talking about China, President Trump put out quite the cryptic post last night. I want to show this to you for those of you who haven't seen it. This post here. The big question to be answered is whether or not President Xi of China will mention the massive amount of support and blood, in quotation marks, that the United States of America gave to China in order to help it to secure its freedom from a very unfriendly foreign invader. Excuse me. Many Americans died in China's quest for victory and glory. I hope that they are rightfully honored and remembered for their bravery and sacrifice. And this is where it gets interesting. May President Xi and the wonderful people of China have a great and lasting day of celebration. Please give my warmest regards to Vladimir Putin and Kim Jong-un as you conspire against the United States of America. President Trump. So, what are you saying there? Are you saying you know that they're conspiring to do something against America? Very interesting. And this is what Pete's talking about.
Seek conflict. We do not. And we've been clear about that with China or Russia or others. But because by being prepared, you prevent it. You ensure that the American people in the homeland are safe. And demonstrations of parades are fine. but they don't hopefully manifest in actually military conflict. So we know what they believe and what they're about. We also know how strong we are and the military advantages we have. They know that also. Our job's to maintain those military advantages in space, in the skies, in the sea, under the sea, and with long-range fires. All the capabilities we have, Golden Dome, which is something China knows they can't replicate, and we will inside this administration. So we're going to maintain the strategic advantage. President Trump has a great relationship with President Xi, and we'll leverage that in hoping to find ways that we can work together. Otherwise, we'll always be prepared.
So, Mr. Secretary, part of the president's philosophy is peace through strength. He wants to be able to have negotiations. He doesn't want to start any new wars. He wants to end a lot of wars. But one thing he does want to do is have the perception and the philosophy of the military to get back to the original origin. And one way he wants to do that with changing the name from Defense to Department of War. What is the timeline on that?
I've said stand by on it, and that's what I'll say again, because that's ultimately the president's call. But I'll say this. You know, we won World War I and we won World War II, not with the Department of Defense, but with a War Department, with the Department of War. As the president has said, we're not just defense, we're offense.
That's a big difference. That is not something just to be yada yada and just run over pretty quickly. In the past, we've been a defense-oriented nation. Don't mess with us, and we won't mess with you. There is definitely a different shift at this point, where President Trump is going to do things and if need be, flex some muscle overseas. Now, some of you guys were like, I don't want to see boots on the ground. No, we're not there. It's a whole different kind of war. This kinetic war or kinetic strikes that he can do anywhere is something that's got to be a huge deterrent. Remember, just a month or so ago, they flew all the way from here across the ocean, bombed Iran, and turned around, and nobody even knew they were coming. He understands the strength of his firepower right now, and unfortunately for, what happened in Iran and then other things that have occurred, people are starting to recognize you're never going to see him coming. You're never going to understand what President Trump is going to decide to do to strike at you before you do something. We're no longer going to wait until after it happens. We're not going to watch something explode or a boat come across. We are going to do something first, which completely changes, as Pete has said, the ethos. It's a warrior mentality instead of a, let's fix it type thing. Some people may have an issue with that. I don't. I am not going to let somebody hit me first if I can stop them. And so now we've finally got a dog in the White House and a dog in the Department of whatever it is, War, who are like, no, we're not going to sit back. If our intelligence, if what we see says you're capable or you might, well, you might get got. Why would anybody have a problem with that? Why would anybody, including the Democrats, be seeing this as problematic? Well, you blew up a boat in the ocean that had all this stuff. Can you prove it? You know what it was? They lost their due process. Their due process is doo-doo. This is war. And he's defining it for people, and he's making it very clear. This is what's different. I'd love to know in the comments, what do you guys feel about that? Do you want reactionary or do you want aggressiveness?
We're reestablishing at the department the warrior ethos. We want warriors, folks that understand how to exact lethality on the enemy. We don't want endless contingencies and just playing defense. We think words and names and titles matter. So we're working with the White House and the president on it. Stand by, but we might have some new signage here, right over here, eventually.
We look forward to it.
Well,
we'll see if you
have to go to Kinko's to change your business cards. That's going to be something that's going to make a decision from the White House, I'm sure. All right, so let's talk about the National Guard. If there's going to be a similar display of federal muscle in Chicago as in D.C., the National Guard will play a role. But yesterday there was a decision that came down by a judge in San Francisco, Breyer, I think it's brother of the Supreme Court Justice, who said the president should not have deployed troops, troops into Los Angeles. I assume that means the National Guard because you also put Marines in there. They said you can't do investigations, you can't aid ICE or police officers. They really limited anything National Guard can do. How will that affect what happens in Chicago if the president decides to put National Guard in there?
Well, Brian, that'll be appealed. It already has been appealed in California because it's an incorrect decision. Ultimately, the president had every authority. The National Guard was working completely within those confines, supporting law enforcement, protecting federal buildings and federal agents. That's what we said we were going to do from the beginning, and that's what we did. So everything we did in Los Angeles was lawful and, by the way, effective. Gavin Newsom wasn't willing to do what was needed to prevent a Summer of Love 2.0. And so we got in there, secured the city alongside federal law enforcement. We supported them. That'll be appealed. That'll be overturned. And what you see in Washington is the right kind of collaboration with state, local, city law enforcement. You've seen a city reborn, safe and beautiful. It's a template for what that cooperation could look like. The National Guardsmen, I talked to some of them yesterday at the street. They were a little surprised when I stopped my convoy and the Secretary of Defense got out and these National Guard soldiers from West Virginia were on patrol. But they were proud of what they were doing. They were excited to be in their nation's capital and securing it. We've seen crime rates plummet in the city.
So why would anybody be against that? I mean, literally, I would love to be in Chicago and just hold a microphone in somebody. Well, actually, you couldn't because the people in the neighborhoods in the streets, they want it cleaned up. They don't want to live in a war zone. So why, and this is a question legitimate journalists would have to ask anybody, but they won't. Why do you want the crime to stay the way it is? It's a simple question. Don't talk to me about it's going down. It doesn't matter. They showed you they could turn it off. And nobody's asked that question. I'll give it to you, Brandon. It's going down. However, if somebody can come in and within 2 weeks, don't worry about it going down, they can get in here and turn it off. Stop it. Why wouldn't you do that? What is it that you have a problem with? You think people are going to be upset that there's troops on the street? There's already troops on the street. They just look different. And I haven't heard anybody ask anybody in any of these local governments what the problem is. Don't tell me it's feelings. Oh, people they're going to be afraid if they see the big bad military. No, we have parades all the time. So what exactly is the issue? Well, the issue has to be the Democrat machine. The issue has to be the people who would be afraid are the people who aren't supposed to be here. They will scatter like roaches. They don't want to go to jail, so they're probably going to scatter. And your problem is you don't want them being extracted off the street. Every single one of those people is a vote. And if they start scattering and leaving, you're done. It has nothing to do with safety because anybody in their right mind, if I took anybody in chat today and said, you are now the mayor of Chicago, and you went, well, it looks really bad last weekend. How do we fix this? Well, President Trump said he'd come in and just whoop up on it and you'd be done in about 10, 12 days. All right, what's your plan? Well, it's getting better. I mean, think about it. Anybody who's even a manager or a waitress or whatever, it's a very simple thing. How many people got shot? I don't know, 60, 70, 8 dead. Okay. How does that compare to like last year? Oh, it's down like 4%. Oh, that's not too bad. But there's a guy who's in Washington who says he can turn it off, make it go to 0. Well, let's do that. No. We can't have that. Would be the detractors, and without any answer why. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. In fact, that should be a question on every ballot of every politician in every precinct and state across the country. If you have the opportunity to turn crime off, would you be willing to do that? And then just sit back and debate and go, let me hear it. Let me hear why you don't want to stop crime. And if people still voted for the people who say, no, I don't want to stop crime, that then just go ahead and put a fence around it. It's like you deserve what you get. But I don't think that's the case. I don't think the overwhelming amount of people in any neighborhood are saying we want crime. Just because you're poor, just because you've had problems, doesn't mean you have no brains. Doesn't mean that you don't care for your family. Whatever your family's doing, let's say your family is just a bunch of deadbeats as well. You still don't want them shot walking down to the 7-Eleven. And so who wants it, the status quo, to stay the same? Yeah, it's pretty easy. Crooked politicians.
Whether it's Chicago or Baltimore or New Orleans, wherever it is, we'll be proud to partner with law enforcement that'll partner with us. But as the president has said, he wants governors to invite us in. And unfortunately, you've got some governors that aren't willing to do that in Illinois and Maryland. So that's the president's call. We'll see what happens next. But we're proud of the missions we've done so far. It's part of protecting American citizens, just like our southwest border. The invasion is over. The lawlessness and the chaos is over. We will work with our federal partners appropriately to help secure the American people.
Hey, Mr. Secretary.
I didn't even consider that part in terms of the resume at this point. The resume is, yeah, we stopped all the people coming across the border. Millions to zero. That's a pretty impressive resume. How did you do it? Well, we just showed up. We showed up, let people know you're not going to be able to do this anymore. We're going to make sure that this stops. And it did. All right, what's next? We're going to go to Washington, and we're going to attack the city and make sure the knuckleheads know new sheriff in town. What happened? It stopped. So if you're sitting back, and one of the reasons is there's not enough people talking about it. That's what the problem is, that the people in the news, who some people listen to for some reason, aren't telling people it's all stopped. They're not telling you the success of the government at the border. They're not telling you the success of Trump in Washington, D.C. So that the masses have no idea. They're not at the border in Texas or Arizona or wherever. Nope, don't see it. They're not in Washington, D.C. Nope, they're not turning on local news in Washington. Nope. So tell me, how are people supposed to find out that this stuff is actually happening? I bet you they didn't even show the boat getting blown up. Nope. The narrative, actually it's beyond a narrative. It is full-on gaslighting at this point, telling people it's awful. Oh, Trump's awful. He's a dictator. I don't know about you. I've never laid my head wondering if a bullet was going to come flying through my house. And so I put myself in people's position, and I'm listening to them where they're probably wondering, is a bullet going to come flying through my window? And if somebody could stop me even having to dream that, if I hear some noise, if I didn't have to hear that, that would wake me up at night. If I didn't have to live this way, would I be okay with that? I'm pretty sure it would be unanimous. So these people are full of crap.
Trump said we're going in. So he said that yesterday. So I'm wondering what the timeline might be when he's going into Chicago. And then what's your response to Governor Pritzker? He said that the president is begging me to call him. He said it's been a really difficult 10 days. Lawrence was saying, I've been covering this for years. It's been more than 10 days. And I refuse to play a reality game with Donald Trump again.
It's been a tough 10 days for the governor. What about the people that live in Chicago? What about the folks that live with unending violence right in their backyard, with an incompetent government and mayor and governor who are unwilling to provide just basic security? So I don't feel bad for Governor Pritzker. He should be welcoming support. He should be welcoming outside efforts to come alongside him, just as, frankly, the mayor of Washington mostly has. So he's playing a shell game. It's a charade. He knows that his city's out of control. It's the president's decision when on Chicago and what the scale looks like. But the folks in Chicago, folks in Illinois, deserve to live peacefully like everywhere else. Unfortunately, they have dysfunctional leaders.
And Mr. Secretary, you know about this job, too, because you used to be in the National Guard. You know, all these people talking about what the National Guard can do. You used to command a unit with the National Guard. You took fire from protesters, so you know what they can do.
I held a riot shield in Lafayette Square in 2020 during those riots. I've been a part of walking blocks and presence patrols. I know exactly what they can do. I know exactly what they can't do. We made sure that they're able to protect themselves by carrying weapons in Washington, D.C., which is not controversial. It's common sense. I always wanted that.
I thought it was common sense. If the bad guys are walking around with guns, which we know they are, then why wouldn't the guys you go in there to tell them to stop this stuff, why wouldn't they be armed? Otherwise, they're walking around like sitting ducks. It's like, oh, there's 20 National Guard guys there, but none of them have weapons. So you mean they're victims waiting to happen? And then finally, somebody got some sense about them and said, yeah, let's, we might as well go ahead and make sure these people are armed. Duh, absolutely makes sense. But they got pissed off with that too.
Ability when I wasn't able to be armed. So it is pretty unique. Myself, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, also has served in the National Guard. So I understand intimately what these units are capable of, the types of units you would want, how long you'd want them there, the types of missions, how they can work with law enforcement. And so we're happy to support in every way the president's belief that we should be helping to secure American cities where Americans deserve to live safely.
This is probably the last time we're going to have the chance to say this, but thank you, Mr. Secretary of Defense.
Right.
We'll introduce you maybe some different way shortly.
Last time.
I was
I will always
introducing
call
as
you guys
Pete.
friends, though. It's
I
good
was
to see
calling
you.
you Pete. I'm sorry, Mr. Secretary. Thank you
Call
for
me
coming
whatever
on.
you want, Ainsley. You know that.
Thank
Good
you.
to see you.
Good to see you.
Thank you,
too.
Mr. Secretary.
There's two things that he inherited. As I mentioned,
These guys are goofy on these sets. So they still haven't come up with the press conference yet, so they are late, quite late, 30 minutes late. And then John Rich, I'm not sure if he's on time. Ashley's going to let me know. He's supposed to hit here at 4:15. And so while I'm waiting to see everybody who shows up, if you haven't seen, there's a lot of information that's going around right now in regards to gold becoming back as a standard. And a lot of people may not realize what that's all about, but that would be absolutely, I can't even tell you how big that would be if gold came back as a standard. I've got an interview tomorrow with Kevin Demerit from Lear Capital, and so we're going to talk about that, and I'm going to find out what would happen. Would this be a complete reality if that were to occur? Just to let you know, I'm going to show you both of these things here real quick. Here is the gold pricing. Again, if you're not into prosperity, I'm sorry if this offends people. Sorry, not sorry anymore. And right now, gold is at 3619. It is up 0.76% over the last 5 days, up 5%. So while we've been talking over the last week, it's up 5%. Over the last month, it's up 5%. Over the last 6 months, 25%. That ain't nothing to sneeze at. Not at all. Let me check where we are with silver. Where we are with baby silver. Today up almost 0.5%. 5 days, 6.5%, almost 7% in 5 days. In a month, 12%. 6 months, 30%. Come on.
It's genius. It's pure genius. America is the country that started the AI race. And as President of the United States, I'm here today to declare that America is going to win it. We're going to work hard. We're going to win it.
Why do so many financial experts call silver the most undervalued asset today? Because silver is essential to the future, from solar tech and electric vehicles to the explosive growth of artificial intelligence. Demand is rising fast, and yet silver is still trading at a bargain. With billions pouring into AI, silver prices have only one place to go, and that's up. In fact, silver may be the most overlooked asset class in financial planning. The opportunity for silver is well documented. The market for silver could double or even triple by 2026. You see, I believe in hard assets like this bar of silver. You can hold it in your hand, you can put it in your IRA, you can put it in your home safe, and relative to gold, it's very affordable. That's why I urge you to call my friends at Lear Capital and get their free report, The AI Revolution, and see why silver prices could be set to soar. Call 800-601-5430 or go to learberry.com. But don't wait. We all know. We've seen it. The government can print lots and lots of dollars, but they can't print silver. And that is the truth. All right, so Ashley texts me, John Rich is trying to get in, but for some reason he's not able to log in. So we'll just look at some comments while we wait. SB said he had some breaking news for me to check out. I love his breaking news bits that he hits here. By the way, as I'm getting ready, hopefully by today's September 3rd, I'm thinking like by September 15th. So, oh, there's John Rich. I think about September 15th or September 20th or so, I should be in the new studio. But John Rich is here. And if you guys weren't part of our show last night, where we showed the movie Sound of Freedom, I want to play something for you from Mr. Rich, and I want to talk to him about it afterwards. Listen to this.
Has anybody ever sang a song on your show before? No. I brought a guitar, if I could be so bold, because I've never sang The Righteous Hunter to anybody. It's not out, you can't download it, there's nothing. But I would be really curious what your audience especially would think of this song.
Let's do it.
Evil runs around this town undercover, looking for a soul to take. But they better stay away from the righteous hunter, or hell is all they'll pay. 'Cause I can see you around the corner, and I know you're coming. If you had any sense, you'd run. But you ain't got a clue what a daddy will do. Better give your soul to Jesus while I get my gun. You better give your soul to Jesus while I get my gun. They try to steal away our sons and daughters, shrouded in the shadow of night. But we fight with protection of the Heavenly Father, and we ain't scared to die. And I can see you around the corner, and I know you're coming. If you had any sense, you'd run. But you ain't got a clue what a daddy will do. Better give your soul to Jesus while I get my gun. You better give your soul to Jesus while I get my gun. Recall the words that Jesus said, better off with millstones around their necks, and we pray. Not our will, but thine be done. Bring an end to the reign of the wicked one. This we claim in your name. And I can see you around the corner, and I know you're coming. If you had any sense, you'd run. But you ain't got a clue what a daddy will do. Better give your soul to Jesus while I get my gun.
Wow, sir. Wow. Where did that song come from? Because I played it last night, and then people are looking at it right now, and the comments are, oh my God, it gave people chills. What was that song about?
Well, it's great to join you. Thanks for having me on. It happened after I saw a clip of Sean Combs. So P. Diddy, right? Mr. Important himself. I saw a clip from him standing on a stage somewhere in the spotlights. It looked like an award show. And he looked into the camera with this demonic look on his face, and he said, I own your kids. I own their souls. I determine what they wear. I determine what they listen to. I own them. And he had this look on his face, and I'm looking at him through that television screen, and I said, oh, you think you own my kids' souls, that's what you think. Because that's how arrogant the devil is. And that's how arrogant the wicked in this world have become. They're not hiding it anymore. They're walking right out in broad daylight and telling you exactly what they are doing and what they intend on continuing to do. And I didn't think that could just go without some type of rebuttal. Like, who's going to say something against that? And not only just him, but all the people that are like that, which we know it's an absolute epidemic of child predators right now in the United States. So I sat down with my guitar and I basically just channeled how I feel as a dad of two sons, 13 and 15. And I put to music my feeling about the matter, which is, you come after my kids and something horrible is going to happen to you. Something permanent will happen to you. And even though I'd take you out if you came for my kids, I'd still suggest you give your soul to Jesus while I get my gun. And that's the impetus of the righteous hunter.
Man, I mean, I heard that. It literally gave me goosebumps because you spoke to every father and mothers too. That's what we would do if somebody came for our kids. And are you going to put that and release it, or is that just something you did on Sean's show?
You know, it's such a hard hitting lyric. I've been sitting on it for about 6 months right now, and sitting on Sean's show, I thought, you know what? His crowd can handle it. Let's see what they think about it. And it has been his podcast has only been out now like less than 24 hours, maybe right at 24. It's like thousands of comments are coming to me right now about that song. So I think, we're going to put it out. And I actually want Sean, I'll do a music video on it. I'd love for Sean to be in that video as like the dad in the video, be that guy, because what a look he has. I mean, he's, former Navy SEAL. I mean, I think that the people that target our kids in this country don't have any fear, not real fear, of a mom or a dad, because they don't understand what it means to be a mom or a dad. They don't love kids. They hate them. They try to make sure as many of them are not born as possible to begin with. And then if they are born, they then go right at them and they try to twist them and pollute them and take their spirit away, take their innocence away from them, so they can co-opt them to the bad side, to the dark side. And I don't think they understand what a real mom or a dad would actually do if you came within spitting distance of their son or daughter.
Oh, yeah. Especially, they don't know what people in the South will do. There's places in the South where you can just disappear, forget going to court. And that would be the justice that they would definitely deserve. I mean, you don't remember this. There's no way you would remember it. But I promoted a concert way back in the late 90s when you were with Lone Star. And it was really funny. It was in Daytona Beach, South Daytona Beach, Florida. And ever since then, I followed your career. And then, the whole thing with Big and Rich the whole way through. And you've lately made a whole lot of, you've made a lot of great records over your career. But lately, your songs have been quite deep. Where did Revelation come from? Because I didn't think you could top that. And The Righteous Hunter might top it, but the Revelation song and the video were just tremendous. Where did that come from?
Well, so in the music industry, I was in it my whole life, from the age of 19 all the way till I was probably 46, 45. My whole life, my whole adult life. And that's all about writing a hit song. That's about writing a song that'll get on the radio, sell records, sell concert tickets. And I did that. And I wrote a lot of hits for not only Big and Rich, but a lot of people. But when I got away from the music industry, I said to myself, there are more important things to talk about than tailgates and having a good time and whatever. And so I just started looking at things that I thought were important and that nobody was writing about. And by the way, if I had a record deal, which I don't anymore, and I wrote songs like The Righteous Hunter or Revelation, you would never hear those songs because the music industry would never allow those songs to be released. You know that. You know how it works. They would never, ever allow those to come out. And so when I finally broke free of that whole system, that's when I thought, you know what, I'm gonna listen to what the boss says, And if he spotlights a subject for me or puts something on my mind and in my heart to write about, I'm just going to write that. I'm going to write it as effectively as I can. I'm just going to put it out there, and who knows if anybody will like it or not. That's really not the point. And what has happened with songs like Revelation, which you mentioned, they just went absolutely nuclear.
Yeah.
I mean, like tens of millions of people now know that particular song. And I think The Righteous Hunter, I think you're right. It'll be another one of those songs because you're never going to hear that on the radio, ever. You're never going to hear it. They're never going to let you hear that. And so we have to do it independently and just bring it to the people the way I'm bringing it now.
The devil and the TVA. I know that's very close to your heart because of your friend who's running for office as well, and that lady who almost, or did she lose her property? Tell me about that song because I don't want The Righteous Hunter to overshadow Devil and TVA because that's the one that's out now, and then this one when it comes out, it's going to blow everything away. So tell me about the devil and TVA.
Well, the devil in the TVA is about the Tennessee Valley Authority, which has been around since 1933. Franklin Delano Roosevelt, our most famous socialist / communist president, he built the TVA, put it together, and he made it to where the TVA only answers to the president. So senators, governors, congressmen, mayors, nobody has any jurisdiction over the TVA except the actual president of the United States at the time.
Wow.
And so because of that, they are an unchecked, unbridled federal entity that throughout the decades have really hurt a lot of Americans. And so they came to my home county, Cheatham County, Tennessee, and unveiled a plan to drop this 900 megawatt methane gas plant right on top of 5 school districts, the main water supply to two of the towns in the county, 6,000 acres of farmland. And they started showing up at people's farms with bulletproof vests and loaded weapons, 10 cars deep. I mean, it looked like a SWAT team showing up on people's land and demanding access to their farms. And one of the people they did that to was an 88-year-old woman who's in the music video of The Devil in the TVA. And she couldn't believe it, and she looked into the camera. The neighbor was running an iPhone, and she said, "You think you own something, but you don't own nothing." And I thought that was one of the most profound, simple statements I'd ever heard. That's exactly right. You own your land until the TVA says you don't own your land, even if it's been in your family 100 plus years. So I wrote The Devil in the TVA. Last I checked before I logged on with you, it's now in the top 10 most downloaded country songs so far.
Wow.
That's sitting at the top of my X page, just at John Rich. The download link is there, and the entire video is right there at John Rich on X. So go check it out. After this show, of course, go check it out.
And when you did it live, I showed it to people, and they were like, "When's it going to come out?" And so I'm glad you put it out. Now I'm going to say something to you. I hope you don't take it the wrong way because I don't know what you think about it. But you remind me of I've done a lot of concerts. I've worked with Leonard Skinner, Black Hawk with Henry Paul, and back in the day when they were the Outlaws. But you remind me of a young Charlie Daniels, because just the way you've changed your career. I remember when Charlie did A Devil Went Down to Georgia, and he couldn't sing the words anymore. He had to change it because in the word he said SOB. What has happened in the music industry where the guys in Skinner, Charlie Daniels, Henry Paul, all of them got to a point where they said, "I can't live this life anymore," and what happens?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, I think early on in your career, your music is your life. Like, I mean, you're an artist. There's no difference between the two. So if you're out, tearing the world up, if you're having a party every night, your music's going to sound like that. That's country music. But it is unsustainable at some point. And then as you grow up and you start to look at more important things in your life, for me, it was my 2 sons being born, getting married. I mean, I've got a 17th wedding anniversary coming up here in December. That's pretty good for anybody, much less a country music singer. That's real good for guys like me. But I think you get to that point and you've still got the skill set of writing, producing, and performing at a very high level, except now you can use that to say things that actually mean something that might really stick with people and move the needle. You can actually use it as leverage. I compared it on Sean Ryan's show. I said, you go from success to significance. That's the transition that you hope to make at some point. Success is great, but significance, doing things that really impact people. It doesn't just put another plaque on your wall. It's not just another check in the mailbox. It's like something that really mattered and really counted. And that's kind of the mindset I'm in now. And I would say Charlie Daniels also wound up in that mindset for very many, probably 20 plus, 25, 30 years of his life towards the end. Charlie just cared about doing things that stuck.
And it was weird because your story is similar. He was on he had record deals and everything, and then the balance of his life, I would almost say, was independent. He still did 200 dates a year all across the country, and so I'm sure if you wanted to, you could probably do that as well. Is Big and Rich on hiatus, or are you guys done, or you guys have gone your separate ways?
Oh no, we played 17 shows in August.
Oh wow!
So
okay.
we're in Detroit this weekend. We're in Atlanta the weekend after that. We don't do the 150 plus show years anymore. I don't want to, because I don't like missing my son's baseball games.
Right.
I don't like missing homework. I don't care. I've been doing this since I was 19 years old. So, but we do pull 40 to 50 cities a year every single year, and we have for probably the last 7 or 8 years. So we get out and play, have a good time, see the big crowds. It's crazy because the crowds now are actually bigger than they were back in the day. It's nuts. It's like our music has it's kind of like a moment in time for people. And when they see Big and Rich is coming to your city, they go, hey, we got to go see that show. That these guys don't come through here very often. So the shows are just packed. It's a lot of fun.
I got one last question because I know you've got to go in like 2 minutes. You just mentioned you were in Detroit. You and, of course, Lee Greenwood and Kid Rock and Uncle Ted need to come together and do a show. I would love to see a show with you guys on the bill. It would probably sell out stadiums at this point. Did you get a chance to talk to Uncle Ted when you were out in Detroit?
I actually talked to Ted a couple of days ago. I did his podcast, which is, I always tell Ted, you're a verbal assault weapon. Because talking to Ted Nugent, if his mouth is like a machine gun, it's like, it's like, Ted, slow down, man. I can't even get a word in anywhere. His mind runs so fast. And but listen, he's the real deal. He's a patriot. Yeah, he's a little nutty. Yeah. But he means every word of it, and the guy's got a huge heart. He's a genuine guy. So is Kid Rock. Bob is the same kind of guy. He's flamboyant and wild, but down in there is a really great heart. So I think that would be a great show. We'll have to put that together.
Oh, that would be awesome. And stream it. And whatever you did with the money is up to you, but I'm sure you'd get tens of thousands of people to watch it. I know you're on a tight schedule today, so we'll cut it there. And everyone check out, well, you just heard The Righteous Hunter. Check out Devil in the TVA. And if you haven't heard Revelation, go ahead and Google that as well. It'll that video, it's incredible. I mean, who played the angel?
That's a guy named Hollywood Yates, who's a rodeo clown. Actually, he's a professional rodeo clown. Great, big, muscled up guy, and he plays Michael the Archangel. Yeah. And then Nick Searcy plays the devil. Nick Searcy, if you look that name up, he's been in tons of movies, tons of TV shows. He plays the devil, and you basically see the devil and Michael coming together in the woods of Tennessee in front of an old country church, and I'm standing in between them because humanity is what they're fighting for. I mean, it's quite a video.
Oh, great. And just to let you know, we saw, in case you guys don't know, Nick Searcy last night was in Sound of Freedom with Jim Caviezel. He was the FBI director or whatever. So, he's done a ton of movies and has been able to succeed. John, I'm going to let you go. I know your people said you're on a tight time frame. Would love to have you back and spend a little bit more time talking to you.
Thank you, Barry. I sure do appreciate it. God bless you, man. Thanks for the time.
God bless you too, brother. Thank you. All right, everybody. That was John Rich. It looks like the Pam Bondi interview, they're getting ready. So let me go ahead and take a break and get that set up for you.
back to Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
All right, so our timing was absolutely perfect, actually. Pam Bondi and Kristi Noem haven't even walked out yet. Here, I can show you. There's the podium, and they were supposed to be on at 3:45, and they haven't even walked out yet. So perfect timing. We're on point with this, and as soon as she comes out, or they come out, I will obviously bring them back. I hope you guys enjoyed it, because those are the kind of interviews when we had Ted Nugent on, which, Ashley, you need to get Ted Nugent back. Those are the kind of interviews I like. I don't have to have any questions in my mind because I know the music. I know who I love it. So a little bit of fanboying there, but you know, if you guys, I just so wish Charlie Daniels was still with us. If Charlie Daniels was here, man, he and I could probably talk for an hour and keep you guys entertained with all the stories and the different things that we've done and how I used to work with his show. I forgot to ask John about Marshall Tucker. I mean, some of these bands, they were hellraisers during the day. I mean, just churn them and burn them and do whatever. It was a rock and roll lifestyle, even though it was Southern rock and country. And then one by one, I noticed and saw everybody starting to change. And it was a big change. It went from snorting and drinking to praying. And it was, I mean, I don't know if you've ever seen, this, I'll have to play it, Leonard Skinner, now that after the plane crash, but they're singing a song, and it was about, ooh, that smell. And he started the song, he goes, we got the t-shirt. Ain't ever going back. They always point to the Lord. And I'm like, wow, man, what a difference. What a difference 25 or 30 years makes with some of these people in the music industry. And it happened, I don't know if you guys even knew who I was talking about when I said Henry Paul. Henry Paul was the lead singer at one point for a band called The Outlaws with Huey Thomason. Man, I know I'm boring the hell out of you probably. But he was the lead singer, and then he turned country, and he started singing with the band Black Hawk, and they were fantastic. But they, one by one, I watched all these people. Marshall Tucker. We did a show with Marshall Tucker, and Robin was backstage and handling the catering, and we get a call over the radio. And then it was like, what? And I'm like, why are you blowing up my radio? You need to get back here. I'm like, what's wrong? I can't say it on the radio. Get back here. I go back there, and one of the roadies who had, in between the opening act and the time they were supposed to go on stage, had done a drug deal with somebody somewhere, and he had bought some bad stuff, and the dude died right there, right backstage, dead. And they still did the show. They put on a fantastic show as if nothing ever happened. And then after the show, we were in the lobby talking to the cops with Doug, the lead singer, Doug Gray. And he just broke down, man. And he's talking to the roadie that was with him. He's like, that's my brother. That's your brother. He's dead. What did you do? Where did you go? And I'm sitting there going, oh man, I can't take this. And they were all just crying in the lobby. The guitar players, the drum, they were all just crying because one of their brothers was dead. And it was almost like right then and there, I just watched this transformation take place. Same thing, well, not as crazy, but back with the days with the Allman Brothers, when Greg Allman was still with the band. And then, what's his name? Derek Trucks came in. He was 13 or 14, and he was playing guitar with the band. And Derek was a virtuoso at 13 and 14 years old. He could actually play the slide that Dwayne Allman. It was fantastic. But all of them, they completely changed. It's amazing. I don't mean to bore you with my old history or my old experience, but it was. I guess I was the same way. I guess I was a hellraiser too. I didn't do drugs. Only reason why, because I couldn't, doing like this tickles my nose, I would start sneezing. So I never, even the guys from Molly Hatchet, I told you about them. Even when things were flowing in the backstage, I never partook because of one reason. It was, I can't put anything in my nose. And I definitely wasn't putting anything in my arm, so that wasn't going to happen. But I imbibed, and then all of a sudden, my life changed. I'm like, I don't care about partying anymore. Maybe it's because every single night of my life I was throwing a party, whether it's for 1,000 people in a club or 50,000 at a festival. Either way, we were having fun. And people ask me, "You've got the best job in the world." And I'm like, really? Is it? Because what you don't see is behind the curtain. Everybody can get up on stage and bring a show. That's their job. What are they like behind the curtain? Who are you having to deal with behind the curtain? And there were some people that you're like, I never want to see these people ever again. And there's other people like Charlie, like, let me know whenever you're touring the South, I will take dates. I will take 2 or 3 dates, wherever you're going to be. Leonard Skinner, I will take the dates. It's just a term in terms of buying and promoting. But there are other ones you're like, thanks a lot. Here's your money. Skedaddle. Don't even want to know who you are. Did I bore the hell out of you? I'm sorry. In any event, they're still looking to get set up while I got a little excited there. Got a little excited. Love hearing about your music industry background. Oh, it's when I point at the screen, when John was in a band called Lone Star back in, I think he left Lone Star in 97 or 98, and Lone Star had a big hit, and I was like surprised that he left the band but anyway, he left the band. And then, of course, Big and Rich, you guys all know. What's here? Yep, I worked at the House of Blues in Hollywood. I will tell you my story after the chat. Yeah, there's a lot of stories. It's called maturity. Yeah, I think it's that plus something else. It's not just, maybe this is maturity. You realize, as John said, there's something more. When you have it all, and this is not the prosperity speech, but when you're around celebrities and you can have literally whatever you want, and nobody's telling you no, it's complete excess, and you live a certain life, and you think that's it, and it's a life that so many people want. They're begging you, can I please get backstage? Can I get some tickets, please? Can I please? I'll do anything for the tickets. And give me a backstage pass. Backstage. And then you realize, this sucks. This really sucks. I got to do this again tomorrow, and I can't. I'm drunk. These guys are stoned. They don't. You ever notice? You probably haven't noticed, but a lot of times when guys are in different cities and they talk about the city they're in, it's either on a billboard or it's some. Hey, how you doing today, Boca? Yeah, this is where I am. And you ever notice they all write songs about being on the road? Yeah, they all on the road, and they all talk about going from city to city on a steel horse they ride. Seen a million faces and I rocked them all, but you don't remember that many of them. It's just this sea of faces. And all of a sudden you realize this is empty. This is really empty. And then you're like, I want something more. And I think this, I didn't want to say it to him because I didn't want to piss off about Big and Rich, but I think his most recent music is like, oh my God. Dude, that's a serious joint. Because now you're talking from here. As he said, it went from that to significance. It means something. They were illegally handed power to do what they wanted. Are you talking about the Democrats? Let's see here. I escaped it by this much. Yeah. That was Bon Jovi, one of the best songs ever. Wanted, dead or alive. I've seen a million faces and I've rocked them all. I say that to Robin sometimes. She starts cracking up. I remember if you want to hear a funny story, when YouTube contacted me and said, hey, you've got 1 million views, whenever that was. And I was like, okay. And I walked out there and I went, hey, Robin, I seen 1 million faces and I rocked them all. She's like, okay, settle down, big guy. Loved Lone Star's music. Was bummed when I realized they wouldn't be making anymore. Yeah, they were very, very good. That's somebody must have just watched it. I would play the TVA song. I can't play it because now he's released it, and so it's with a I don't know which label, but it's there. And then if you trust me, go see the Revelation video. That video is just crazy. That's a good one. I was a farm slave, never exposed to any of that. Yeah, you might be actually lucky. John Rich is awesome. Thank you. Glad you liked it. Dear Barry, you can share your testimony with us anytime. It only further reveals what kind of character you hold. Oh, thank you very much. Thank you very, very much. That really means something to me. Yes, I did live between playing football and then doing nightclubs and concerts and festivals and rock shows and all kinds of stuff. I lived what many would consider back now I can say it because it's different, but I can say that it was a privileged life. Not everybody gets to do that. And it's literally throwing a party every night or every weekend, and you're seeing these people come through on tour, and you get to know the ones that you like, and the other ones you just pay and have them move on. And as I've talked, there's ones that have struck me, and the ones that have struck me, Paul Stanley. I didn't really get to talk to Gene Simmons too much, but Paul Stanley, he really struck me. Ace Frehley struck me. And so you get to see these people, and you realize backstage, before the makeup goes on, before all the groupies show up, you're just seeing a couple guys who squat and stand to pee. That's it. And then they turn it on when they walk on stage, and they perform what is actually a show. It may not necessarily be them. Some people don't understand the disconnect. I'm doing a show. I'm here to entertain you. But it may not be who I really am, and it's very different sometimes. Yeah, the party gets old, and you need a purpose for sure. I was watching John Rich on X during the time the TVA went after that poor lady who broke my heart. Yeah, Barry, I probably met you before. I played a lot of music with people. Yep, maybe. Let's see what else here. I backlined in photographs. Okay, yeah, backline is all those amps and stuff that you see behind the players. Evangelist says, yeah, Barry, you lived, now you're alive in Christ. Someone tells me, let me tell you a quick story. When this woman met me, I was a hellraiser still. I was still going 100 miles per hour, and however Bob Seger said it, a mile a minute. And she's like, slow down. And we got to know each other. And let me tell you a little quickness of how much I fell for this woman. We met on May 26th. We moved in together and were married within a month. And everybody on both sides of the family go, it's never going to work. Like, what do you mean? It's never going to work. You guys can't go bang, bang, bang. And little did I know that this woman from South Carolina, when I married her, I'm like, this is going to be great. And I think the first time I met her was, she was just getting done working, and it was a big party. And let me just show you, I'm not missing anything. Hootie and the Blowfish were huge in South Carolina. And she's like, who they? Like, what do you mean you don't know who Hootie is? And realized that she didn't like rock, and she didn't like country music, and she liked disco. No, I'm in South Carolina. You're supposed to be a country gal. Yeah, I'm from the country, but I don't like country music. And so, and she got me to be baptized, and that's where that came from. The movie Rockstar was a good movie for the lifestyle. Exactly. Wow, 25 years in the music business, and I'm ready to retire. Had enough. Good for you. Good for you. What happened to Hootie? Hootie, actually, Darius Rucker was the lead singer of Hootie and the Blowfish, and he's launched a country career. and he's been singing country music now for, 20 years? But every once in a while, Hootie and the Blowfish will get back together, and they will do special shows in Myrtle Beach or outside of Myrtle Beach, or Murder Beach as they call it now, but they still do songs. And then recently they did a collaboration with Scotty McCreery, and where they took one of Hootie's songs and kind of melded into Scotty's new song, which sounds pretty good actually. I was really happy to hear how they did Hold Your Hand, and I think it was Hold Your Hand, and they brought it back together. But in any event, so we got nothing yet, and so instead of taking you down memory lane and spending all your time listening to me talk about the music business, let's move on. I think I've got a piece of tape here we can get to, or I can talk to you about some of the breaking stuff. Ashley sent this to me. I think it was Ashley. We got this. If the media you consumed told you that Donald Trump was on his deathbed because he didn't do a press conference for 3 days, imagine what else they're lying to you about. Good point. Good point. I think, by the way, I think one of the reasons why they're waiting, because it looks like there's lightning or something over, that's what it is. Hold on. It looks like there's a storm is running, and they're doing an outside press conference. So I don't know if I'd want to stand in front of a microphone if there's lightning or something. So maybe that's why they're delayed. But in any event, 100% true. The media lies. Point blank, exclamation point. If the media told you, and the media you consumed said that Donald Trump was on his deathbed, then you do have to wonder what else they lied to you about. What else we got here? This is I'm going to save that for tomorrow because that's huge. That's what Ashley sent me and what SV sent recently. Oh, suck on that, Nimrods. American Eagle soars 25% after jean sales crush expectation thanks to the Sydney Sweeney ad. Was there going to be any doubt about that? Of course it was just going to go crazy. Of course that was going to happen. The Democrats have gone full communist. This is crazy communist stuff here. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz calls for the United States to pass similar gun legislation as Australia, which included mass gun confiscation. Good luck with that. I guess old Timmy hasn't gone through the South at all. He thinks he's going to go in and confiscate people's guns. Good luck with that. Or rather, good luck to the people you send out to do that. You're bat poop crazy. That ain't ever going to happen. And this one I did want to talk to you guys about. I was hoping we had enough time to do it. John Thune says the Senate is preparing to, quote, clear the backlog of President Trump's nominees. There are still 100 plus. No negotiating with Schumer, period. How exactly are you going to do that? Why didn't you do it? I hate when people say I'm going to do something when they had every opportunity to do it before. So let me bring in this video while we wait, and you guys can hear it real quick. But it doesn't make any sense why you just didn't do it. Hold on. Okay, 1 second here.
We just had a very productive meeting where our conference talked about clearing the nominations backlog. And we are where we are right now because of the Democrat obstruction, which is historic and unprecedented. We have never seen a time where the opposition party has literally blocked and forced the president and his team, and us here as the majority in the Senate, to go through all the machinations of trying to get a nominee across the finish line. It used to be that these were done largely by unanimous consent or voice vote. And this president is the only president at this point in his presidency, going back to Herbert Hoover. We went back all the way to the Hoover administration, who hasn't had a single one of his noms confirmed either by voice vote or unanimous consent. So this is of the Democrats' making. It's not something that we can sustain. This business model doesn't work. This president was duly elected by the American people, and they expect him to be able to put his team in place to govern the country enact the agenda that they voted for. So we are in the process of continue to have the conversations with our Republican senators, but expect us to move forward with a plan that would enable us to clear the backlog of nominees. It just flat has to happen. And the reason, again, is because of the Trump derangement syndrome that afflicts the Democrats in the United States Senate to the point where their hatred of President Trump is borderline pathological. There isn't anything right now that they want to vote for that he has his fingerprints on. And getting his team in place is absolutely essential. It's part of governing this country, and we're going to.
So did John Thune not realize that before they went on break? Is it some sort of breaking news that the Democrats are being obstructionist? Are you now just figuring that out? Because to me, it doesn't make any sense. They should have done this months ago. Ram them through, get them in. Stop playing footsie with these people. Dan Bongino has said, cutesy time is long over. Forget about it. It's done. Nobody cares. Do it. Stop messing around. Let me see here. Let you guys see it. It doesn't look like those clouds look ominous there, so they may be holding it. So since they're going to be holding this, it seems like, I'm going to go ahead and move forward because I doubt they're going to put out Pam Bondi in what amounts to looking like a complete rainstorm here in a second. So let me show you something I put together. And this is on, what's her name? Lisa Cook. I want you to hear this. What, did I still have it here? Okay, here it is. I want you guys to, let's talk about this for a second.
Federal Reserve Governor Lisa Cook has 3 homes and big troubles. She claimed to the banks that she lived at all of them, but real estate records show she listed 2 of them for rent. That's not legal. So Lisa must be living here in Ann Arbor at the 3rd house, right?
The door's dirty. There's a key lockbox right there. There's a white man at the dining room table. It's weird. I don't think she's married.
Hello?
How you doing?
Okay, what are you?
I'm good. My name's Charlie. I'm a reporter. This house is in the news. I was wondering if Lisa Cook lives here, or do you rent? I'm sorry? Okay, you just living here? Okay, just renting? I'm sorry? Okay, the owner, would you have a contact number? Oh, we'll have to talk to the owner. They're just living here. Oh, Governor? Where do you live?
That's a good question. I just want to show you guys something. They're out there covering everything up, so we're not going to probably see this for some time. I might have to show that tomorrow so I can just move on with. I can't wait, so I'll keep looking at it, and we'll see what happens. But they just decided to bring out some plastic bags and cover up everything because the storm looks like it's blowing in.
I heard you talked about a second criminal referral for her. Yeah. Why the second criminal referral since she's already been fired?
Because once we dug in more, we found more. And anytime we find more, whether it's on a criminal suspect or otherwise, we try to report it to people. So we reported it to the DOJ. She said that she had a second home, but then in her disclosures to the U.S. government, she called it an investment in rental property. Investments in rental properties are different than second homes. And back in that time frame, 2021, where she took out these 3 mortgages, you had different rates for these different types of classifications. So it's very concerning, and the DOJ will have to figure out what they do with that.
Do you think the president or the administration is going to name her replacement while this litigation is ongoing?
I have no clue. You'd have to ask the president that. My main focus is on getting rid of mortgage fraud and finding mortgage fraud no matter who commits it. If they commit it and we determine that it's within our purview to prosecute it, we will refer it over to the DOJ, and that's what I'm singularly focused on. So,
are there other government officials who are looking into it?
We're looking at a lot of different things. We refer criminally people every day, contrary to what people say. We refer people who are Democrats, Republicans, it doesn't matter. But we're not going to be deterred from pursuing people. But the ones that we've made public or have been made public by other people are the only ones that we're prepared to talk about right now.
Tom Dempsey with News Nation. The attorneys for Ms. Cook are saying this is all just an effort to get interest rates lowered and that there was never cause to begin with for her to be fired. What do you say in response to that?
Well, Ms. Cook is the one who filled out the applications, not me and not anybody else that I know. So she needs to account for.
You see, the problem that the government is having, especially with the media running interference, is most of these people in the press have no friggin' clue what they're talking about. And so they're asking the stupidest of questions. Are you targeting her? It's like, it's clear as day if you learn how to read it. Now, I guess they're trying not to have to read it because they don't want to have to explain to people that it's mortgage fraud. It's easier to keep with the mantra that people are being targeted. They don't want people to know she committed mortgage fraud. If she didn't, she would say, I didn't commit mortgage fraud. The only thing she has come out and said, I made a mistake, which doesn't matter. A mistake is not a defense against a crime. Otherwise, we could all just go rob a bank, take the money, and then if we get caught, go, I made a mistake. I shouldn't have done that. No, you're still going to find yourself in jail. But the Democrats and the media, one and the same, they are trying to obfuscate all of this and pretend it's just doesn't really matter anymore. Crime doesn't matter.
Why did she take these two mortgages out? She took out a Michigan loan, and then 2 weeks later she goes and she takes out another loan for a property in Atlanta. She declares both of them as her primary residence. Then you go back 4 months from that, she took out another loan. We're now finding on a third property, saying that it was a second home when really she declared it as an investment property. So,
okay, understand, this went from one bad mortgage to two bad mortgages to three. She lied on 3 different properties. And then she tried to do them, remember the timing of it. So if anyone ever asks you and say, it's kind of odd that people are closing on properties within a few weeks of each other. I just bought one, I'm going to buy another one, let me buy another one. Me, who have bought a whole bunch of houses for investment, so I hear thunder, you don't do that. And you can't declare it a second home, or no, it's not even second. She's saying, I lived in both places at the same time. Both of them were primary residences. You can't do it. If you went and did it right now, if they find you, they're going to put you in jail. It's mortgage fraud. It's it's that simple.
You know, this really has nothing to do with the Fed. It has much to do with public officials. If you're going to be in charge of the Federal Reserve, damn, you better sure know how to fill out a mortgage application. And boy, it's awfully weird that she potentially saved a lot of money by making so-called clerical errors, which were not clerical errors.
Do you know if she's...
I understand that. That's really important as well, because that's the media trying to tell people they're clerical errors. Nope. When you do a mortgage, those of you who have purchased a house, you know, in that stack of documents, which now is no longer a stack, now they're on an iPad, and you file through them, and then you click on a button where it says sign here, and you click again, and you say sign here. But there's a thing that pops up and says, you acknowledge that this is your primary residence. And then you have to click the button, yes, I acknowledge. That's not a clerical error. That's how it comes up on the iPad if you're doing it that way. And if you're doing it in paperwork, you have to sign an affidavit. An affidavit is a document that heretofore where shall be. This is my primary residence. Yes, it is my primary residence. There's no clerical error. A clerical error is if you spelled your name wrong. Instead it says Lisa, it says Lusa. If it said Lusa, all right, that's a clerical error. Somebody typed it or wrote it in wrong. Lusa. Okay. That's a clerical error. I am declaring this as my primary residence isn't a clerical error. But let's give her the benefit of a doubt. Let's say it was. What about the third property? So you made the same mistake again and again? Kind of tough, especially since you're on a Federal Reserve.
Getting paid by the Fed or how that's working while you guys bring this?
I don't know, but Jerome Powell, he's got to answer for why he's not coming out and saying this is bad. He's destroying the credibility of the Fed by...
Now, that's a big one. Jerome Powell, who is the chairman of the Federal Reserve, has been mum. Doesn't want to talk about it. Like, one of your lieutenants here has been accused of a crime. In any other job, the CEO would come out and say, hey, he no longer works here. We've put him on administrative leave. And this guy won't say anything, which is indicative of the fact that they're owned. I don't think Jerome Powell runs the Federal Reserve. I don't even think Lisa DEI Cook runs anything on the Federal Reserve. They're told what to do, and this is how it's going to happen. And then they vote accordingly. We saw Jerome Powell not able to answer any questions. Hey, did you know about this? Remember that when Trump called him out? He does that to show you. You think this guy's in charge? Of course, the media doesn't talk about it, but at least you can look at it and go, as he was going through that meeting and they all looked at him and Tim Scott, it was as if to say to you, do you think this guy's got it? You think he's in charge? I didn't know anything about that. He was showing you. That was a complete reveal. This guy doesn't know crap. Oh, by the way, I don't know if you heard about, what's his name, Robert Mueller? Nope, he can't come testify because he's incapacitated.
Not saying that mortgage fraud is bad. I mean, we have great career people. We have great people at Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. We have great people at the Federal Housing Agency. Why would somebody who's Jerome Powell not come out and say, you know what, if Ms. Cook did this, she should resign? So it's becoming more and more concerning by the day. And I say that because, not only from a legal perspective with mortgages, but obviously the mortgage market is very dependent on the credibility of the Fed. And so it's concerning. This president...
Okay, so... I don't know how she's going to get out of this. The only thing she's got going for her right now is that the media is running interference. That's it. And Abby Powell's her new attorney, whatever, but there's no getting out of it. I guess their only hope, which I guess is good hope, is they have these judges that are just completely doing whatever they want or told as well. I'll tell you about another judge today. Doesn't matter. Seems like, you know what? Maybe we should stop paying our taxes, but before we do, declare ourselves Democrats. Hey, I didn't know. I didn't know I put the wrong amount on here. It's a clerical error. How do you think that'll work out for you? How do you think it'll work out for you when they come and knock it? Hey, looks like this is wrong. Don't worry about it. It's a clerical error. It just happened. You don't get that same leeway, but these judges and the media are doing everything they can to protect other people.
Understands real estate. He understands housing better than anybody. We will fix this housing market. It's just a shame that we've got this massive headwind in front of us, which are these high interest rates. So, that's on the policy side of the interest rates. But on the legality side, that's equally concerning because if you're not running things well, and, Secretary Besson has also called for an internal review at the Fed, this is case number one as to the mortgage fraud. Why is Jerome Powell not out there? He should be out there saying, I condemn mortgage fraud, and if Lisa Cook did something, she should step down. And he may not have the authority technically to fire her, but he can certainly do what he did with these other two people who had trading problems, put his arm around her and say, look, you're destroying the credibility of the Fed. And unfortunately, I believe Jerome Powell is complicit in the destruction of the credibility of the Fed by his silence on this mortgage fraud matter.
CNN's time.
All right, so you guys have all heard the evidence because it's really simple. This isn't like a complex case. You filed this document and your only defense is it's a clerical error. Nothing else. Now listen how a major news network that none of us believe, but listen how Jake Tapper and his friends define this. This is unbelievable.
Foreman unpacks the accusations against Cook that brought us to this point.
At issue in 2021, Cook purchased a home in Michigan, then another home in Georgia, declaring both to be her primary residence based on a CNN review of mortgage documents, potentially double dipping on financial incentives for home buyers. But analysts note she has denied wrongdoing. She was never charged. That might not be a valid cause to fire her anyway, and she may have an explanation.
She could just say she made a mistake.
I saw that and I'm like, did he really just say that? Did he really just say, she's got a valid defense, just say I made a mistake? I didn't know we could do that. I didn't know you could go around life making all kinds of crimes and just say it was a mistake. I got caught, so now it's a mistake. It wasn't a mistake a couple months ago when nobody was looking, but now it's all of a sudden it's a mistake. They think we're stupid. Probably worse. It's not a matter of even thinking we're stupid. They don't care. I think we have reached a point right now where they don't care, even though they know we know they know that they're lying. We know they're breaking the law. We don't care. Now we've got to that point where the Democrats and the media are now saying right in your face, looking at you, basically giving you a middle finger salute and saying, we don't care. We will do anything. It doesn't matter. And we will protect anybody. And so, yes, I understand why people are clamoring for arrest, because it'd be one thing if this stuff was happening and then we'd like, we're not really sure. It's so blatant. It's so blatant, and they end up giving us the middle finger, and we're like, can somebody do something? How? I mean, it's not like you're having to dig and put the puzzle pieces together. It's here and here equals this. Arrest. And they don't care. Yeah, I did it. It was a mistake. What are you going to do about it? Every single day, they're still wrapping up this thing. As you can see, they're still wrapping it up even more so now. So I doubt we're going to see this before we get off. So I will save it for tomorrow. But every day it gets worse. I want to show you this. This just came out. What time did this come out? This came out 5 minutes ago. 5 minutes ago. You want to see how bad it's getting? Maybe I don't want to ruin your afternoon, but here we go, 5 minutes ago. Judge voids $2.2 billion Harvard funding freeze by Trump administration. A federal judge on Wednesday ruled that the Trump administration's freeze of $2.2 billion in funds for Harvard was illegal. Judge Allison Burroughs agreed with Harvard's arguments that the administration imposed a funding freeze in retaliation for the Ivy League's refusal to capitulate to demands for reforms that violated First Amendment protections under the Constitution. The administration froze the grants after Harvard rejected demands that it end its diversity, equity, and inclusion programs. Remember, this isn't money they earned. This is $2.2 billion that these people have been sucking off the federal government. Your money. And the judge goes, no, you got to send it. I can't make this shit up. Yeah, voids it. Yeah, send the money. Give Harvard $2.2 billion. Why? Why are we forced to pay Harvard $2.2 billion of our money? At some point, I don't know when it's coming. I don't know how it's going to happen, but I'd love to know if President Trump said, F it, don't pay income tax next April. And people said, really? Don't pay it. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of wasting your money. I'm tired of Harvard getting $2.2 billion when they don't need it. I'm tired of these courts telling us what we got to do. I'm tired of seeing your money wasted. You know what? Forget the government shutdown. Let's shut it down for real. Nobody pay taxes in April. And I'm not going to order the IRS to enforce it. You want to see people, their heads explode. Because there's no way. See, like this judge, again, just like with Andrew Jackson, okay, who's going to hit the button that says pay out? Who's got the PayPal code? Send the $2.2 billion. Nope. You can go ahead and say whatever you want. You can tell me I got to release the $2.2 billion, but guess what? You can't make me. And so I think we need to get to a point where enough is enough. I think this is what the Democrats have been hoping for, that there would be some sort of constitutional crisis. We need it. We absolutely need it. Done. I think people need to let Trump know. We support you shutting it all down. Do it. Stop with the bullshit. Excuse my language. Just want to take our money and do whatever you want with it. It's got to stop. Has to. Well, actually, the skies have turned clearer at the podium, so you can see people are walking around, so maybe we might get it in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go forward with something that I want to talk about. And I realize at this point that there might be some people who have an issue. So I'm going to give those people enough time if they want to leave, because I'm going to talk about some prosperity stuff. So let me finish this. I got a deal for you with Patriot Addict. Okay, is this going to be the full berry pack thing? All right, so let me hit this button and talk to you about Patriot Addict. And I got to hit the second button because Ashley told me you got to make sure you hit the other button. So let me go ahead and hit it. And where is it? Okay. There we go. All right. So let me tell you about the berry pack. Now they've changed this a little bit, so I got to make sure I look at it. All right. So what they're going to do is give you this amazing berry pack. You can go to berrypack.com. You're going to get over $500 worth of Trump collectibles. You're going to get, and I haven't showed you guys this in a while, you're going to get this hat. You get that hat as part of the package. Let me pull up my stuff here because I didn't know they were going to go back to this, but that's fantastic. You're going to get the red knife that everybody knows about. You're going to get the red knife. And you're going to get the signatory knife, which is this knife. Pretty cool knife. And it's got the, let me pull it out, it's very sharp. It's got the signature knife, we're calling it. It's got Trump's signature. Still has the window breaker and the seatbelt seat. And this one's really, really sharp. So you get the hat and you get both knights. But wait, there's more, as they say on television. You're also going to get the flag. All right, which would be perfect for you to show up at a tailgate with and show this flag out as being a Trump supporter. This is awesome flag here. Let me put it around this way so you guys can see it. You get that. You get the flag. So you get both knives. You get the hat. You get the hat. You get the flag. Let me see what else is in here. Let me make sure I got it. I got the hat. I got the flag. Oh, we're also going to do the presidential blanket here. Which, well, I haven't done the berry pack in quite some time. Luckily, I have everything right near me. You get the big blanket as well. The presidential blanket. Going into fall in some of those places up north, so you might like that. So you get all that. You get the hat, you get the flag, you get the blanket, you get both knives, and with every order, the viewer will also get, let me see if I can show it to you. It's right there. You get the Trump replica plane as well. There it is. So you get all this stuff together, everything. The hat, both knives, the replica plane, the blanket, and the flag, all for, it says worth, you get it for under $100. I guess it fluctuates in terms of inventories, but you can get all of that for under $100, worth about $500. So go ahead and click the QR code that's right there, or you can go to berrypack.com and pick this up. All right, so let me thank you guys, Patriot Addict, for your support and your ongoing support. All right, so now I'm going to talk to you about something to close the show, per se. President Trump put something out a couple days ago. And when he put it out, I realized there are going to be a lot of people who don't understand. A lot of people are going to be upset. A lot of people are going to ignore it. And I know there's a lot of people in our audience, not a lot, but there's a few people who have problems with prosperity. I mean, you just listen to John Rich, million-selling albums and everything else. He's prosperous. He's putting out these albums. They make money. When you hear this, you're going to hear two ladies at the beginning, and then President Trump put out a list of things that you need to be prosperous. Why would he put that out? Let's listen.
Does anybody else find it insane that the majority of us spend our days at a job that we don't particularly want to be at just to collect a paycheck big enough to pay our bills and pay our taxes and whatever else we need to literally survive? And then you come home in the evening and you only have a couple hours to yourself before you have to go to bed and then do it all over again. And you arrive to the weekend and it's beautiful because you don't have to go into work, but it's over in a blimp and then you're right back onto the same cycle. There has to be more to life than this. I am posting this as a vow to myself that I am finding something different because there has to be more to life than this. Does anybody else feel this way?
I truly cannot be the only.
I think most of us call that life. Unfortunately, too many people call that life. And the hamster wheel just continues. And it becomes problematic where these younger folk don't understand. Many of us, our fathers, our grandfathers, uncles, aunts, that was life. Go to work, 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, and then when you're done, you got the weekend to spend a little bit of time. And then there's other people, like myself and probably John Rich and others, who've said, you know what, I don't want to live that type of life. So I'm going to make some different decisions based upon what I do want. I'm not going to let society dictate to me my value or my worth. And I find it a priority to me to be able to spend whatever time I want to with Robin, Ashley, and the kids. If I said, you know what, no show tomorrow, why? Well, Robin and I are going to go hang out at the beach. Whatever she wants to do is always going to take precedence. I want to spend every moment with her. Whenever I can get to North Carolina, I want to spend that with Ashley and the kids. So I need to do something that avails me, that gives me the flexibility, that life, those choices that say, you know what, if you want to do that, if you want to be able to see your grandkids whenever you want, if you want to go see your daughter whenever you want, providing she wants you up there, because I will be knocking. If you wanted to, get a condo near where she lives so that I'm going to scare her now, so that you can go and see the kids play whenever you want. What's stopping you? What is in these kids' minds that they don't understand? That nobody's telling you have to live a certain way. It's a personal choice. Listen to this one.
A person in this world that feels like I'm just existing. Y'all, I work. My husband works. And it's like, where's the extra money to go enjoy life itself? At this point, I'm only living to work. Like, there is no enjoyment except for to just work. I am ready for that point in my life where I can go to work, but then on my free time, I have all the money to go do all the things I want to do.
I'm pretty sure everybody would like that. Well, on my weekend, I get all the money to do whatever I want to do. It doesn't work that way, honey. And it definitely ain't going to work when somebody else is in control of your funds. So I don't know what's happened to the younger people. I don't know how they've gotten to this point where they feel so entitled. I should be able to do whatever I want. On the weekends, I'm not working. I don't even remember the last time I had a weekend free. Even when I work for somebody else. I don't think people realize when you get to a certain position, if you get to the executive or directorial position at a company, there's no such thing as time off. You're hoping, okay, I'm here at the restaurant. I hope he doesn't text me and tells me he needs to talk to me. I hope the creative department doesn't need me to approve something. I hope legal doesn't need me to review a contract. There's no time off. You take a job, you understand the responsibilities, and you want the rewards that come along with it. Well, when you get to a certain point where they're paying you more money and you have that freedom that you think you have, and all of a sudden I'm like, honey, he's calling. What are we going to do? And I'm at dinner, and it has happened more than once, and the boss called. Yes, I need you to go do this right now. Yes, head over to the office. Okay. Those calls used to come all the time. Those texts used to come all the time. I've told you the story where Papa John Schottner would text me or call me on a Saturday or Sunday. Hey, can you check this out for me? Dude, I'm watching a football game. But he can't say that. Yes, okay, I'll go check it out. I'll give you a call back. These people don't know it. They don't understand the life that you choose has certain conditions. And if it's not the life that you choose, then maybe you should look at a different way of life. And I'm going to explain it to you before y'all get mad at me.
Now, it's just working and existing.
So what I'm going to show you next, having heard that, is something that President Trump said at a recent commencement speech. But that commencement speech was based upon stuff he said in his book, The Art of the Deal, some 30 years ago. And it's a blueprint, and I thought it was proper to bring it to you guys because there were people who were upset with me saying you can do this and you can do that and the other thing. But I thought, you know what, maybe I should have the President of the United States that you voted for tell you the recipe. So I'm going to show you what the President said. He gave 11 steps for people to be successful. And as you hear these 11 steps, I want you to think to yourself, you don't have to put it in the chat. Write down. Number 1, nope, I didn't do that. Number 2, I think I did that. Tell yourself. Don't listen to Barry. Listen to the man you voted for, who's now going to tell you what you need to succeed. And we'll go through them slowly so you guys can talk about them. But here's number 1.
Let me share some of the biggest lessons I've learned from a lifetime spent building dreams. First, if you think that you're too young to do something great, let me tell you that you are wrong. You're not too young. In America, with drive and ambition, young people can do anything.
I will take that step further and say, it doesn't just necessarily mean when you're young. If you have drive and ambition, you can do so much. You can do so much if you just have that drive and ambition. Some people, it has to be trained into you. It doesn't come naturally to a lot of people. You can do it. And that's the first lesson that President Trump imparted upon these college kids. Anybody disagree with that? Now, you may think you disagree with it, but drive and ambition also have quantitative levels. So you may think you're ambitious, you may think you have drive, but how much drive and ambition do you really have? That's something you have to measure.
Second of all, and very importantly, you have to love what you do. I rarely see somebody that's successful that doesn't love what he or she does.
Bingo. Check that one off. If you've never done or worked at what you love, you're not taking that next rung on the ladder. That's a decision you have to make early or late. Like, wait a minute, this sucks. I don't want to do this. Well, what do you want to do? Well, I'd like to be an artist. Well, you're going to be able to make any money doing that? Well, I'm going to try and let me see if I can sell some stuff. I'd like to, I don't know, open a dry cleaners. I'd love to clean clothes. Love to, not want to, not think I can do it, not maybe I can get paid. I want to do something I love. I just told you, and I had John Rich on here, I loved concerts. I love music. My wife laughs at me. She said, you should have got a job at MTV. You're a walking musical encyclopedia. I've loved music since the time I was yay big. And so I said, you know what? I want to do a career in music. And everybody's like, well, what are you going to do? I'm going to promote concerts. I'm going to own nightclubs. I'm going to do all kinds of stuff in entertainment. How are you going to make that happen? You guys have seen a song. I've played it a number of times, Rockstar with Nickelback. And he's like, I want to do this. And how you going to do it? Well, I went and asked people who already did it. I'm like, hey, man, I want to open a nightclub. Oh, you think so? Yeah. And what do you want to do in this nightclub? I want to have concerts. I want to have bands show up. Okay. You know, it's going to take some capital. Where am I going to get the money? Well, here's where you can get some seed money. And somebody told me. I'm like, okay. But that's what I wanted because I loved music. And then my second love was real estate. I'm like, real estate? I can buy and sell houses? Yeah. How do I do that? Show me. I want to do it. I'll learn. I have a lot of drive and ambition. I can't get enough. Let me eat everything. Carlton Sheets? Oh yeah, no money down. Yeah. What's this other guy? Mr. Wu, whatever? Oh, let me read all his stuff. I read everything. I watched every single video, every late night infomercial. I was up watching everything I could about real estate. And I do mean everything. 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. This is way before the internet. I learned everything about real estate. I could probably write a mortgage from scratch. Had done that, actually. I learned everything. My ambition was, I want to do this. I want it all. I love it. And when you do something you love, it's basically, as they've said, it's not working. You love it. It's fun. Even this stuff. It's fun. That's what President Trump just said.
Third thing is to think big. You know, you're going to do something, you might as well think big, because it's just as hard to solve a small problem as a big problem, and it's just as much energy and everything else, except the result is going to be a smaller one. So love what you do, but think big.
And that came directly out of the art of the deal. There were 2 tenets in Art of the Deal that I always thought were pretty cool. One was, there's no such thing as bad advertisement. You can say whatever you want, just keep talking about me. And I was like, that's brilliant. Your name's out there. You're in the news. And the second one was what he just said. And they're such simple things. You have to wonder, how many people cross those off? Think big. And if you're thinking big, what's going to happen? Well, if you fail, you're still better than where you were. Remember what was his name? Casey Kasem? You shoot for the stars. And then people would say, if you shoot for the stars, you might hit the moon. But it's still much bigger than where you are now, so think bigger. Always think bigger. A lot of people don't understand that. No one's stopping you from thinking big. When we're kids and like, hey, what do you want to do when you grow up? You're thinking big. You can barely basically wipe your butt at that point, but somebody goes, what do you want to do when you grow up? I want to be this or that. Well, you're thinking real big, aren't you? I want to be an astronaut. You're thinking real big. How does it change? How do we stop thinking big? How do we start settling? See, that's where I think the Democrats or the campuses came in vogue. They started teaching people to settle. Maybe that was because of my athletic background. I was exposed to things playing football, and I knew as more I got better, the better I would do, and the more doors that would open. I was always in control of what I was going to do next. And then when my knee got hurt and I couldn't do, I sat back and go, okay, what am I going to do? I got it. I want to do concerts. And I told you, I don't know if I did, but I got a job at a nightclub on a college campus. And the guy, Joe Klecko, played for the New York Jets, and he had bought this club. And at this club, he's like, we're going to do concerts here. I'm like, okay, what's my job? You're going to have to book the concerts. How the hell do you do that? It's up to you to find out. So every single day, I'd go to work and I would make 30 or 40 calls to all the agencies in New York City once I found out who they were. Hey, I'm here and we'd love to host so-and-so at a concert. Click. Hey, every single day I called. And I told you this, I don't know if you guys remember, but I'm sitting there and the phone rings and I pick up and they're like, well, you're going to get your shot. And I'm like, what's my shot? Well, we got a band that's playing at Veterans Stadium, which used to be the big football stadium in Philadelphia. And he goes, but you can't tell anybody. I'm like, well, what good is that? He goes, well, it's a warm-up date for the band that's playing at the stadium. And I'm thinking, who's playing at the... Oh, hell no. And I think, let me just restate it, so just you guys know, it ended up being the Rolling Stones. The Rolling Stones were playing at Veterans Stadium, and they wanted a warm-up date so Mick could try out a few new songs, but you couldn't announce it. You could not say the Rolling Stones were playing. I'm like, okay, how do I do this? And I started making up some flyers. If you want some satisfaction, you may want to come to the club tonight. And I was putting run them on a copying machine. If you can't get none anywhere else, you might want to come here. And it was so funny because I'm thinking about it now. I put them everywhere, and then the kids started looking at them like, "Are you telling us what you think it's going to be?" And I'm like, place was packed. And he's like, "How did you promote it?" And I told the agent what we did, and the agent was like, "Brilliant, absolutely brilliant." And I knew right there, think big. I'm going to have Mick Jagger in this club with the Ronnie Wood and Keith sitting here playing for 3 hours. That's when I knew I'm thinking big. True story. And then Springsteen played. And then Pat Benatar played. And we went, it was all over from there. Think big.
Fourth is work hard. Work hard.
Very simple. Work hard. Work smart, but work hard. Keep doing what you had to do. Keep at it. I just told you a story. I called every single day, 30, 40, 50 agents. Click, boom, boom. Every single day. Work hard. Nothing can deter you from where you want to be. If you get to a point where I can't take it anymore, you're done. You are done. If you want to do something you love, if you want to get paid doing something you love, then nothing can deter you from that because you love it. Some of you may say, you know what, I love sewing. Well, then go sew your way around and make as much as possible. SB just said an amazing story. I swear it's true. And then once I got the Stones, and what happens is they report back to the agent. How were you treated? How were you fed? What happened? Did the guy know what he was doing? It went off flawless. It was flawless. I recommend him. And that's all it took. Because why? I worked hard. That day when they showed up, they wouldn't tell the difference. They would not have known the difference between walking on stage at this club versus walking on stage at the stadium. Everything from the time their bus pulled up to the time they left was first class because I worked hard. Didn't stop.
Fifth is don't lose your momentum. You just want to keep it going, and you have to know if you are losing it, you have to know when you're losing it, so maybe you stop and maybe it's time to stop.
Momentum. You've seen it in sports. Don't lose the momentum. What's the quickest way for a football team to lose its momentum? An interception, a fumble, a penalty. Something happens and all of a sudden they like, and you can literally see that get sucked out. And you got to do something to get the momentum back. It just doesn't come. At that point, you're trying to get the whole stadium behind you. You're trying to get your team back up. You're trying to do something. You've had a couple records that didn't sell. You got to do something. You've lost your momentum. You're making videos and people aren't watching anymore. Change. Do something. You got to do that. You can't lose your momentum. And one of the easiest ways for people to lose momentum is listen to other people. Those other people aren't there to help you. Those other people are to console you, to say, come on back. Come on back to the less ambitious. Come on back over here. You don't need the momentum. You don't need to. Come on back. And I want you to look hard at those people. I want you to say, okay, wait a minute. Hell no. I'm not going over there. And that's the problem with a lot of these people who have entourages, is because they have leeches. Because they're there to suck your momentum away from you. I am a very, very strong believer in momentum. Otherwise, there's no way I could do 2 or 3 shows a day for a couple hours each. Do you know what kind of effort that takes? A lot of people think it might come easy. Just the physical side, never mind the editing, putting the stories together, talking, breathing, learning how to breathe. Momentum, you got to keep it going. In fact, most of this social media stuff that you're on, whether it's X or Facebook or YouTube or even TikTok or Twitter, is based upon momentum. If people stop sharing, if people stop talking, if people start commenting, you lose momentum. So momentum is huge.
Number 6, if you want to change the world, you have to have the courage to be an outsider. In other words, you have to take certain risks and do things a little bit differently. Otherwise, if that weren't the case, everybody would be successful.
That should be put in stone. Because in order to do things and be successful, truly successful, you have to take risks. You have to go further than the other person is willing to go to. You've heard a story. If you ever get with a group of people and all of a sudden a lion comes out the woods or an alligator comes out the water, I don't have to be faster than the alligator or the lion. I just got to be faster than you. I'm here with a group of people and I'm checking out who's not in shape, and I'm running faster than them because they're about to be bait. I don't have to be the strongest one. I don't have to be the fastest guy. I just have to be better than you. So we can take the same risks, but I'm going to go a little bit further because I'm willing to take that risk based on the reward. How many of you have taken real risk? I don't mean going down to the gambling hall or to the casino and putting your last $100 on black. No, I'm talking about doing something. The risk of time is so valuable. You never get time back. You get money back. How many of you have risked time? Trump just said it. Think big. Your momentum. Take risks. Be different. If you're looking around and most of the people that you hang out with are like you, you're not much different. If you're in the office at work and you're looking around the office and you're all in the same place, everybody's on second floor and nobody seems to be advancing, you're not different. What are you doing to stand out? Obviously, you know what he did. He became president. And he just completely ignored the mainstream in terms of what they say a president should be. He broke every rule. He broke every rule back when he was doing real estate. He broke every rule when he was in television. What rules are you breaking? I don't mean something that's going to put you in jail, but what rules are you willing to break? When someone tells you got to color between the line, they're like, nah, I'm coloring all out here. Take risk, break rules.
Number 7 is to trust your instincts, common sense. You can go very far in life with common sense.
That doesn't even need any explanation. You see it daily. A boy is a girl. No, that's a boy. Common sense is so easy for people to grasp hold of, and what the Democrats have tried to do to people over the last couple of years is try to tell you your common sense, your innate sense, your spidey skills aren't right. I'm like, no, I'm pretty sure I'm right. No, you're not right. I'm damn sure I'm right. This is what I need to be doing. Go with common sense. Those 2 ladies I showed you at the beginning, they didn't have any common sense. If you're not happy where you are, what's that tell you? It means you got to do something else. What are they, 25, 30? And they're already complaining, oh, it sucks, life sucks. All right. If you've come to that conclusion, what are you going to do about it? Bitch about it? Or do something about it?
Eighth, everybody should believe in the American dream. It's real, it's there, and it's right before you.
That goes without saying. American dream. We're the only country where you literally can do whatever you want. Dude's president. I'm pretty sure when he was doing real estate in New York City, he thought about it, but he never made it happen. And so he then had to apply his own principles. Understand, all these principles that you just heard, all these ladders of success, he had to apply it to be president. Think about all of the things he had to overcome as he was telling you all these different things. Momentum. I got to start winging these swing states. Nobody believes in me. I'm going to have to start going through the primary and picking these people off one by one. I'm going to build momentum. I'm going to be from the outside looking in. I'm going to risk everything. I'm going to be different. I'm going to keep working. Damn, doesn't he work? I ain't ever seen anybody work the way he works. Every single thing you've seen him do, he is doing the exact same thing. Now you say, well, he failed at Trump University and he failed at this. Exactly. We've all failed. We just don't stay there. That's the problem Democrats don't realize is, yeah, oh shit, this didn't work. Okay, what's next? This didn't work. And I'm saying this didn't work from a number of different things. Wow, this venture didn't work. This marriage didn't work. He's been through it all. You don't stop. It's a way station. You analyze and go, what did I do wrong here? Why didn't this work? All right, so, okay, I need to fix this next time, but let's go. We're ready for the next thing. And if you look at it from that perspective, you can see he's run his life that way. I'm not going to get down. I'm going to get up and go for the next thing. These casinos tanked. The file bankruptcy. Let's go. Let's go. Taking a risk sometimes can bite you in the ass. It can hurt. But you don't sit there and soak it. You get up and go, all right, that didn't work. What's next? What do we got to do? See, people will pay you for that. There's no shame in saying, I tried this and it failed. The failure doesn't define you. What defines you is what you do when it fails. Hey, so what happened when you didn't do this, or didn't do that, and it failed? What happened? I just decided to go work at a warehouse. Oh, so it did you in. It assassinated your ambition. It sucked it away from you. You gave up. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. You didn't keep going. You're like, that hurt. All right, let me get in the gym. After that guy just stuck me and knocked me on my ass and said, you ain't in high school anymore. Didn't stop. Didn't stop. Won't stop.
Ninth, think of yourself as a winner. The power of positive thinking. In recent years, too many of our young people have really been taught to think of themselves as victims. But in America, we reject that idea that anyone is born a victim. Our heroes are the ones who take charge of their own destiny despite the odds. And
we're going to win so much, you may even get tired of winning. And you'll say, please, please, it's too much winning. We can't take it anymore. Mr. President, it's too much. And I'll say, no, it isn't. We have to keep winning. We have to win more. We're going to win more.
I've played that probably 500 times when everything's going and something happens. We're going to keep winning. You didn't realize that was him talking about himself. You didn't realize that was one of his tenets. You got to have an attitude of a winner. He was just telling you what he already thought. He was already telling you what he's already had in his mind. I'm going to win this. And I'm going to win this. And then I'm going to win this. And y'all going to be so like, how the hell you keep winning? You're going to say, we can't take it anymore. And he was defining people who were like, I can't take it. Instead of people who would say, oh, no, bring it. Bring it. There is no way that I'm getting tired of this. My attitude right now is I want to go 13-0. I want to go 15-0. I want everything. I want the trophy. I want to earn the trophy. I don't want somebody giving it to me. Let me tell you a little anecdote, another one. When I was in Little League, Nolan Ryan played for the Mets, and we got some kid on the Mets who had just been signed to the Mets. And he said, you know, when you're going through spring training back then, they get you up early, you're going through batting practice, and one day he came out there, and Nolan Ryan was pitching batting practice. And Nolan Ryan, in case you guys don't know, he used to throw a ball 100 miles an hour plus. And this kid was a new draftee. He just showed up. And first pitch, and he realized right then, I'm in the pros now. This is one of the best pitchers of all time, and I can't compete if I don't get my game up. I am a winner. I've been a winner in Little League, I've been a winner in high school, I've been a winner in college, and now I've got my chance to play pro ball. And the first person I see on my first day of spring training is this guy throwing bullets at me. You want to win? Be around winners. Be around winners and learn how to win.
Next is to be an original. The all-time greats were people who had the confidence to be a little different. God only created one of you, so don't try to be someone else.
That's pretty simple. You can see it everywhere. Be original, which is basically being different. Offer something different. It probably happened in your personal life when you met that special person that you love and end up getting married to. You had to be real. She probably saw it coming. Player, it ain't working here. Okay, I've seen all the game. You're not different. Be original. What you got for me? My wife, some of you guys have seen, has some of the prettiest blue eyes I've ever seen. And I remember asking her at one point, you know, once we got on in a relationship, what made me different? Because she didn't say the same old thing. Every person I ever dated, oh, you got beautiful eyes. I'm like, think I haven't heard that before? And so I was different. I was like, don't say it. Even though I was staring at it and being memorized, like, look at these eyes. Oh my God, don't say it. She's probably heard it 1,000 times. It's not going to work. Go to plan B. I swear, I actually did that. Plan B. Go with the C line. The C line. She's never heard the C line. Hey, how you doing? Do you like to bowl? Play pool? That's different. Okay, yeah. And it's an icebreaker because it's different. It's original. Oh, you've got beautiful eyes. Yeah, it's going to be a quick night. Yeah, that's another true story.
Finally, and most importantly, never, ever give up. I've learned that perseverance is everything, so whatever happens, no matter where you are in life, stay optimistic and just keep pushing forward. Never let anyone tell you that something is impossible. Ever, ever, ever. In America, the impossible is what we all do best.
Don't let naysayers who haven't done something tell you you can't do it. Don't let other people who say, yeah, you shouldn't try that, because the first question out of your mouth, have you done it? No. See, your first mistake was asking them. That's one of the biggest mistakes I get with all kinds of different people I've met all over my life. They'll say, you can't do this, this won't work. And then all you've got to do, hey, when you were in this position, what did you do? Oh, I've never done that. Exactly. I hope that didn't bother many of you, but when I saw him put that out, and I went, the President of the United States, the one that all of us voted for, put that out. So he must have been trying to send a message to people. And that message is a recipe. And if you just do that, not 3 of them, not 5 of them, you got to do all of them. And it may take you a while, but that's where the ambitious and the momentum come in. You just got to learn to do every single one of those. Go download that, listen to it, and all right, number 1, I got to do this. Number 2, and then you probably will think, like I told you the story about Robin's eyes, you've probably done some of them. Be original. Think about it. What did you do original with your wife, your girlfriend, your kids, and then realized, oh yeah, and when I did that, there was more satisfaction. There was more spice because it was different. What breaks up so many marriages besides money? Why do people end up cheating on each other? Because it becomes dull and mundane. Be different. Completely different. Put a pole in your living room and let her swing around on it. Are you crazy? I'm not doing that. It's different. If nothing else, she'll laugh at you. Robin loves to fish. I can't stay upright in a boat for too long if it's in the ocean. But you know what? I got sick when we went, and I kept fishing. And that was different. Wow, most people just like sit there and curl up in a fetal position. Not me. Nah, ain't gonna happen. Ain't gonna happen. You know why? Because nobody has ever told me I can't do something. Maybe that's why I'm different. Anyway, Cynthia, you're a great life coach, Barry. I needed you when I was a teen. I understand that there's a lot of people who haven't gotten that kind of encouragement. And I advise you, since you voted for him, to go read that book. Go read Art of the Deal. Almost everything he just said was from that book. And The Art of War. The Art of War is very simple in how it's spoken and how it tells you to act. And these things are time-tested and true because they work. It's not just some ancient Chinese secret. It works. And when you do it, you're like, wow, did that actually just work? Yeah, it works. Find a job you love and you'll never work a day of your life. Yeah, exactly. I must be dead. Must be good. You don't send me flowers anymore. Oh, looks like, oh, by the way, I'm sorry, I wasn't laughing at you. I'm looking at says we got this far, and I'm looking at well, I can show it to you. Looks like they are bringing out paperwork and the microphones. The sun has come back out. So we are going to see this press conference rather soon, I think. Again, this is Pam Bondi and Kristi Noem. They're going to be talking about, as you can see the vehicle sitting there, they're going to be talking about ICE. I love, what does that podium say? Something about Louisiana, lock them up? That's not too subtle, is it? Oh my goodness. Oh my God. All right, so anyway, we guess we're going to be able to see it. So, and it's live. This isn't tape. So as soon as they come out, looks like they are going to do it. The plastic has been removed and the microphones are clear. And it looks like the sun is coming out. So as soon as that comes up, we'll go ahead and take it. He said it, I'm not in it to lose it. Nope. That's a nice ICE car. What is that? Is that like looks like a Dodge Charger maybe? That's a nice car though. Very nice car. You don't write me fly sour. You don't write me love songs. Louisiana lockup. What? Oh, so that must be their new base. That must be like the Alligator Alcatraz and Deportation Depot, the Louisiana lockup. So they must be opening this one to send them over to the Louisiana lockup. That's pretty cool. ICE sports car. What is that? It looks like a Dodge Charger. I would almost say, let me see if I move the comment if you can see. You guys who are car aficionados. Look like a Dodge Charger to you? Hold on, let me put it on full screen. I don't know. Look like it could be a Vet almost. Huh? That is a nice set of wheels there for a police car or a law enforcement vehicle. That's a nice car. It's only a two-seater because there's no back seat. So I'm not sure what that is, but it's a nice car. There's a big pickup truck. Oh, here she comes. Wow. Talk about timing. Oh, my God. I can't believe I got through John Rich's interview and we got through this. And here's Kristi Noem. And looks like they're about to come talk. Yeah, there's Pam. All right. So we're ready. Hope the microphone's plugged in. And one of them starts talking. Dude, your microphone's not on. Check your mic. Mic check. Mic check. Mic check. And that's not me, boys. That's them. They're he's talking and their mic is not on. All right. talk, speak, say something. Your microphone isn't on. See, it happens to other people too. You think me and a mute button, his mute button must be on. I hope they catch it in a second here. Somebody unplugged it? I don't know. All right, so soon somebody will give him the signal. The mic isn't on. The little switch, the on and off button. The only thing you got, good weather, turn on your mic. Sorry, I have no control over this. Somebody tell this guy soon. Pam Bondi wearing bell bottoms out there. Let me see. I'm going to make sure it's not my feed, but it's pretty sure there's no signal coming through from him. So no, he doesn't know the mic's not on. All right, hold on a second. Let me see if it's...
Each year, strictly because we allow poisonous material over these open border policies to pour through a porous border. Until the election of President Trump, no one at the federal level had the courage to stand up to the violence that had gripped this nation. And I repeat, no one. What we are announcing today,
I got it,
is not the panacea.
All right, I figured it out, and I had my mic muted while I was testing something, but it's all good. All right.
Fulfilling the president's promise of making America safe again. How? By giving ICE a facility to consolidate the most violent offenders into a single deportation and holding facility. This camp was originally built here at Angola to house the most disruptive of prisoners. It was called Camp J. Over the years, it was neglected and fell into disrepair. We decided to repair it and put it back into service to help fulfill the mission of removing criminal, illegal aliens that have been causing havoc in our communities. Now, let me say this again. To those who want to gaslight the public that this facility is designed to hold criminal, illegal aliens, the worst of the worst. If you don't think that they belong in somewhere like this, you got a problem. Angola is the largest maximum security prison in the country, with 18,000 acres bordered by the Mississippi River, swamps filled with alligators, and forests filled with bears. Nobody really wants to leave the place. The idea is to consolidate the worst of the worst criminal illegal aliens, gang members, rapists, drug dealers, human smugglers that have no place in this country. For those of you who don't know, I'm a former law enforcement officer. I actually worked in a jail. The idea is to prevent those worst of the worst criminal illegal aliens from continuing their criminal activities inside a criminal civil population. By congregating them here, we actually secure America. This camp will hold 208 criminal illegal aliens by mid-September, 51 of whom are here today. And we will have the capacity to hold over 400 in the next few months. Now, I know you all in the media will attempt to have a field day with this facility, and you will try to find everything wrong with our operation in an effort to make those who broke the law in some of the most violent ways victims. I want you to know that that path only continues to lead us to the hug-a-thug policies that handcuff our police instead of the criminals, and have led to the violence across this country. However, I would ask the media, I would plead with you all, why don't you focus on the real victims, like the young boys who were molested in Kenner, Louisiana, by an illegal from Honduras, or the 13-year-old little girl who was kidnapped and raped last year. Or how about Mark Dean, a 48-year-old WGNO TV producer who was killed due to the reckless driving of another illegal. Or the young Nichols female student who was randomly attacked with a hammer outside of St. Thomas's Church. These are just a few of the stories that highlight what is playing out all across America because of the Democrats' open border policies. When we allow our country to be overrun by those who have no respect for our laws or way of life, American families suffer and our communities crumble. I have said countless times that I don't know anyone who has a house without a front door. And so you don't have a country without borders. It's so refreshing to have a president and a cabinet, like the lady standing behind me, who empower law enforcement to do their jobs, to provide American families the safety they have long wanted, and finally puts America and her people first. That is why today I'm proud to stand alongside Secretary Noem, General Bondi, Deputy Director Sheehan, as we announce the opening of the Louisiana lockup, which will house the worst of the worst illegal criminal aliens. And now I would like to turn it over to my great friend, former governor, and now the Secretary of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem.
Good afternoon. Today we're here at this legendary Angola prison to announce an agreement between the United States of America and the great state of Louisiana. There has never been an agreement like this one before. And it is here today at this place because President Trump has selected and built relationships with leaders across this country that don't complain about things, they fix them. And when we called up Governor Landry and told him about our need for detention space and our need to have a place where we can house some of the violent, criminal, illegal aliens that are out there perpetuating horrific activities against the families in this country, he offered us a solution. He offered us a space that we could house these dangerous criminals and make sure that they were never able to harm another child or family member in this country ever again. I want to thank Governor Landry for hosting us. I also want to thank our great Attorney General Pam Bondi for her willingness to consistently work tirelessly to make sure she's defending our laws and she's out there fighting for people that they have an opportunity to live the American dream. She's been strong, she's been hardworking, and she's been fair. She recognizes that the scales of justice apply equally to everyone and that criminal illegal aliens have no place in this country. I also want to thank our Deputy Director, Madison Sheehan, for all of her leadership as well at ICE. She has been fantastic in helping us come up with solutions like the one you see in front of you today to ensure that these criminals are never let go in the United States of America again. And then we also have other leaders that we're grateful for, the warden, the Department of Corrections and Public Safety. Leaders here in this state have been absolutely wonderful in what they've done to put together this opportunity to open up today the Louisiana lockup. Our one cell block here, as Governor Landry referenced before, called Camp J, has been now repurposed into an ICE detention facility. But not just a typical ICE detention facility that you may see in another state somewhere else in this country. Instead, this facility will hold the most dangerous of criminals that have been out there harming individuals in this country. It will be high-risk alien individuals and criminals, and here are a few of the examples of those individuals that are being moved or are already here today. Omar Martinez Garcia, a 39-year-old citizen of Mexico. His criminal history includes a conviction for homicide, second-degree murder, and he was sentenced to 16 years in prison. We have Rafael Ojeda Acosta, a 70-year-old Cuban man who was convicted of rape with a weapon and forcible sodomy. He was sentenced to 60 years in prison, and he will be living here from now on. We also have Humberto Vargas Lopez, a 55-year-old illegal alien from Cuba, who's been convicted of aggravated rape, aggravated burglary, possession of marijuana and cocaine, obstruction of a public officer, and battery with a deadly weapon with serious bodily harm. Altogether, he was sentenced to 29 years in prison. We also have Julio Lavera Avila, a 30-year-old illegal alien from Mexico. He was convicted of battery, family violence, and cruelty to children in the 3rd degree. He was sentenced to 19 years. And Olven Rodriguez Insterova, a 22-year-old illegal alien from Honduras, was arrested in March on outstanding warrants of 394 counts of pornography involving juveniles, as well as 2 counts of sexual abuse of an animal. President Trump and I are committed. We're committed to making America safe again, and that means arresting many criminal illegal aliens as possible and then making sure we're getting them off of our streets. We're bringing them to justice, and we're making our communities safer. President Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill has provided the funding for tens of thousands of new detention facilities and beds across this country. That bill also funds the 287G program that helps us build law enforcement agreements with local communities and state leaderships. With the rate of arrests and deportations as high as it's been, we need all the help that we can get to increase our detention space. Louisiana is one of several states that is stepping up to help solve these problems, but they're doing it in an unprecedented way. We now have about 200 criminal illegal aliens who are scheduled to be detained here at this facility. The capacity will be up to 400, as Governor Landry specified earlier, and since Angola Prison is located on the grounds of the highest security prison in Louisiana, the citizens here have no need to worry about their safety. They will remain in this facility, and people will be protected from these criminals. So I want to thank you and all of you who care about this country and understand that this president is working every single day to address the crime, address the violence in our cities and our communities, and is bringing people to justice and deporting people out of this country who shouldn't be here. I want to thank Governor Landry for his leadership. He declared an emergency back in July in order to start forming partnerships with us to solve these problems. And I'd also like to thank Governor Landry for his leadership in signing Operation Go, a historic 287G collaboration with Louisiana and our federal agency to arrest and to deport the worst of these criminals. And thank you also to Madison for all of our hard work for helping us get to this announcement today and the operations that are conducted by ICE officers across this country to make sure we're keeping our country safe. Madison knows Louisiana very well. She did great work for Governor Landry when she was here, and she is doing great work in the United States of America and Washington, D.C. as well. I also want to thank Gary Westcott, the Secretary of the Department of Public Safety and Corrections here in Louisiana, for all of his partnership and leadership of his agency. And Scott Ladwig, Acting Field Office Director for ICE ERO, that's in New Orleans, and special thanks to Warden Daryl Vanoy, who returned to serve as warden here at Angola last year, after he'd already served as warden once before. He knows this facility well. In fact, he probably knows it better than anyone else. May God bless all of our law enforcement officers, all the men and women who get up every day and work to protect our public safety. And may God continue to bless the United States of America. Now I'd like to introduce to you and have you welcome with me our great United States Attorney General, Pam Bondi.
Thank you, Secretary Noem, for your tireless work keeping our country safe, making our country safe. And Governor Landry, thank you for your partnership with the Trump administration to make Louisiana safe and, in turn, make America safe. We're working to secure our borders, remove dangerous illegal aliens, stop drug and human smuggling, and lock up these criminals as long as we can in our prisons. Thanks to Secretary Noem, Homeland Security, all of our agencies working together to apprehend these illegal aliens, and Governor Landry for your use of this incredible facility, locking them up and keeping them here where they will be prosecuted by our great U.S. attorneys here in Louisiana, and they won't go anywhere. Look behind us. Louisiana, you're going to be an example for the rest of this country. Thank you. We've been working together on Operation Viper, a joint effort between Louisiana law enforcement and the Justice Department's FBI, DEA, ATF, and U.S. Marshals to disrupt the illegal criminal drug organizations here in Louisiana. Over a 3-week span, we got 140 violent criminals arrested, more than 100 firearms seized, $250,000 in cash, fentanyl, meth, cocaine taken off the streets as a result of everyone working together. The Middle District of Louisiana, 52 federal indictments, 68 defendants. Eastern District of Louisiana, dozens of kilos of fentanyl seized and other deadly drugs linked to CJNG and Sinaloa cartels. They have been seized. Our U.S. attorneys have charged nearly 100 defendants with illegal immigration offenses, and now we have a place to house them all. One example, Miguel Dominguez, who came here illegally from Honduras. In June, he entered our country. He entered a plea in June with 4 counts, one including a firearms charge and illegally distributing cocaine throughout Louisiana. He entered a plea. He will be sentenced, and he will serve his sentence in our country in an American prison because he was committing crimes against Americans. As part of Louisiana's Operation Go, it is a national model for states seeking to protect their citizens. We're going after gang members, human traffickers, drug dealers, and other violent illegal aliens, all working hand in hand. And Secretary Noem, again, thank you for everything you're doing, and Madison, to take all of these illegal criminals off the streets, and we will do everything in our power to prosecute them. And Governor Landry, thank you for working hand in hand with all of our federal agencies, because it takes all of us working together, and that's what Donald Trump has always said, to make America safe again. Thank you all.
Good afternoon. Thank you all for being here. I'd like to start by thanking Secretary Noem and General Bondi. I think what this shows is the continued support that the men and women of ICE have from not only President Trump, but also his entire cabinet and our leadership to go out and do unprecedented things. Coming in January, we were tasked by Secretary Noem to make unprecedented partnerships and historic partnerships throughout the country, allowing us to expand our 287G program in a way that it's never done before. Through our task force model, through detention space, and other opportunities that we have to use state and local law enforcement as a force multiplier throughout the country to effectuate change in American cities and to put the American people first for the first time in 4 years. And we are proud to be able to stand here and partner with Governor Landry. Governor Landry is a dear friend of mine, and when he called and asked to be able to be a part of the mission that ICE was on, we were able to work together to construct Operation Go, a historic agreement to expand the 287G program using the Louisiana State Police and the other Louisiana law enforcement agencies, as well as to expand into detention space and other opportunities that we have as the men and women of ICE. This is just one prime example of the success that we've been able to have. Just yesterday, we worked with the Louisiana State Police and the Louisiana National Guard to move 51 of the worst alien criminals that we have arrested throughout the country into the facility behind me, including 9 of which who were removed from facilities in the state of Louisiana that have wreaked havoc on the people of Louisiana and the American people. I'm proud to be able to stand here today and have the support from Secretary Noem and General Bondi and Governor Landry to be able to put together an historic opportunity to put the American people first, to allow the handcuffs to come off of ICE officers and put the handcuffs on the criminals. And you've seen us do this time and time again in cities all over this country, and we will continue to do that in the state of Louisiana, and we'll be able to bring them right here to Angola to secure them so that way they can then be repatriated to the country that they came from and no longer cause harm to the American people. Governor, thank you for doing this today. Secretary Noem and Attorney General Bondi, we are grateful for your leadership with President Trump to be able to make the Louisiana lockup happen. Thank you.
In closing, I want to thank the president for appointing such unbelievable women warrior leaders like those standing behind me, who have compassion for American families whose communities have continued to crumble under the violence that has plagued this nation over the past decade or so. I also would like to thank the people of Louisiana for giving me an opportunity to make Louisiana a safe place, a prosperous place, where you want to come and raise a family. Because I always said in Louisiana that hospitality may have been born in the South, but it was perfected in Louisiana. And we want people to come to Louisiana and know that it's a safe place. Thank you. With that, we'll take any questions. We'll go from left to right.
Yes, good afternoon to all of you. I'm Cesar Munoz from Jambalaya News Hispanic Radio. When you say the worst of the worst, are those the ones that are incarcerated here now, or are you going to bring them from other parts of the country?
We will take whatever ICE sends us as they go through their roster of some of the worst criminal illegal aliens.
How much is the federal government paying Louisiana to host the detention center, and are they paying to renovate the camp as well?
Look, here's what I'll tell you. This camp was renovated and will be operated at a fraction of the cost of other camps around the nation. That was the instructions by the president. Well, y'all know me. I wouldn't talk about any operational elements that we have going on as we combat crime from New Orleans all the way to Shreveport. I will tell you this. Both General Bondi and Secretary Noem have been here since January of this year. Remember, both of them visited New Orleans during that awful terrorist attack on New Year's Day. We don't talk about operations that are ongoing. We only deliver the results after. Thank you.
Governor, how long did it take to transform this facility into Louisiana lockup? What was the work that was required to do that? And are there any plans to build another facility like this one in the state of Louisiana?
Well, look, right now I'll tell you that Warden Vanoy and his group here and our staff over at the governor's office worked day and night probably for over 30 or 45 days putting this thing together because we needed a place like this as fast as we could. The country needs a place where we can consolidate these violent, illegal, criminal aliens. We're going to ramp this place up to about over 400 in the next few months. And then we will wait and see what ICE may have for us later.
Governor, when you say worst of the worst, is that based off of allegations or convictions? And what will their day-to-day life look like? Will it be similar to the inmates at Angola?
Well, what would you expect of those who commit some of the worst, their day life to be? What is the day life of the victims, of their victims? At least think about that. I can promise you this, that their day here is better than the day in walking in the footsteps of some of their victims, many of whom are no longer on this earth.
NBC on behalf of the pool, what are the detention standards at this facility? I know just bouncing off of that, is this an ICE facility, a state facility? If it's not going to be an ICE facility, will these inmates have access to attorneys?
All of the procedures that we will be following here will be based upon ICE's procedures. Oh, you want to? Yeah, sure.
So this facility will meet all of ICE's standards, including our standards to have attorneys available, and we have hearing rooms to be able to meet with your attorney as well as see an immigration judge with Department of Justice. We also have the law library in this facility, just like every other ICE facility. This is a model for the country of what ICE is expecting from our partners, and that's exactly what we have here. You can walk into any ICE facility right now, and you're going to see the same exact standards, and they're going to be met throughout the country, just as Governor Landry did.
Governor, any concerns about mixing the populations here with the normal population of Angola, or they're just going to be completely separate?
Oh, no. There's no mixing over here. All of the camps are completely isolated from one another. And so this camp will completely be isolated from the criminal civil population.
What is the cost that the state is incurring for the renovations and the operations of this facility, and will any of it be reimbursed by the federal government?
I can promise you this facility will operate in the black at a fraction of the cost that others have done. That was the instructions I got from the White House.
Who will be running the day-to-day operations of the facility, and is it still set up for solitary confinement?
The contract is between ICE and the Department of Corrections and GOSEP, and we will have ICE contractors that will help us run the day-to-day activities.
Was the choice, every headline about this Angola calls it notorious. Was the decision to choose such a prison with such a reputation deliberate to make people want to self-deport?
Yeah, I'll speak to that. Absolutely. There's consequences for breaking the law in this country now. The law will be applied, and that's what President Trump is doing that's so refreshing and so different from the Biden administration. The Biden administration prioritized illegal criminals ahead of American citizens, and that's not going to happen anymore. So absolutely, the most powerful thing that has convinced people to self-deport was our showing on commercials and on videos of the consequences of breaking the law in this country now. How criminals that come in here and rape people, murder people, that they will face justice and that they will face consequences and they will have to leave the United States and they'll never walk free in our streets again. So absolutely, this is a facility that's notorious. It's a facility. Angola prison is legendary. But that's a message that these individuals that are going to be here that are illegal criminals need to understand, is that if you come into this country and you victimize someone, if you take away their child forever, if you traffic drugs and kill our next generation of Americans, and if you traffic our children and men and women, absolutely there's consequences. You're going to end up here. You're going to end up here because we're going to throw the book at you and everything else that we have until you're out of this country, and you no longer have the right to be free and no longer have the right to be in the United States of America.
Yes, sir.
Hey, so Governor, is this going to be a place for men and women? How is that going to go?
No, there will only be males here.
Okay, so where are the women violence going to go?
Oh, that's a great idea. After this press conference, I'll talk about that with Secretary Noem and Deputy Director Sheehan. Great idea.
Governor, crime in New Orleans is down historically. Are National Guard troops really necessary? And if so, why weren't they sent in earlier?
Look, here's what I will tell you. President Trump is focused on getting control of our cities, but not doing it the way past presidents and other administrations have done, where it's temporary. What he wants to see is permanent safety for Americans. He wants our families to be able to grow up in neighborhoods under which they can allow their children to go about their business on the sidewalks and enjoy the playgrounds and not worry about bullets flying around in neighborhoods.
One question, sorry, next question.
Governor, what new immigration court that's being put up in Baton Rouge a result of this?
No, that facility is an expansion. Look, the men and women of ICE are arresting people at historic numbers. And so we work with the Department of Justice and the General's team every day to make sure that we have adequate space to allow all the criminals that we're arresting to go through the proper immigration hearing process, to receive their due process, and then eventually be repatriated to their home country. And in places we have to expand. We're working beside Louisiana State Police. We've seen historic numbers of arrests through 287G program, and it's time to expand a lot of our facilities, and at the direction of the Secretary and with the help of the DOJ, we will continue to do that.
Can you elaborate on the deportations after the immigration court last year?
Yes, after an alien has been arrested and they start immigration proceedings, and I think the thing everyone should remember is oftentimes the folks that we are targeting are people with executable final orders. And so most of them already have been issued an order by an immigration judge to leave this country. If they are a criminal alien and they have not gone through that process, they will go through the immigration hearing process and then ultimately be repatriated to their country and be removed as quickly as possible. The folks that are in this facility have committed heinous crimes. They're going through the immigration hearing process and then ultimately will be removed pending the judge's decision.
We know the previous administration allowed millions of people to invade this country that are illegals, illegal criminals, and people that need to go home. Listen, if people wait until we detain them and have to remove them ourselves, they will never come back to the United States of America. That's why we're encouraging people who are in this country illegally to leave now. Leave now on your own. We'll buy you a plane ticket, go home, and you may have the chance to come back to the United States of America. In the meantime, we're going to continue to make sure we're taking care of the taxpayers, the people in this country that are running this government, expect more out of this government, are the people at home working jobs and paying their taxes. And we're going to find an affordable, efficient, sustainable way to continue to deport people. It's going to take us a while to deport the 10 million plus people that Joe Biden let into this country illegally, but we're not going to stop till we're done. We're going to keep going, keep working, and if we need to figure out a way to get more flights in the air so it can happen quicker, I'm all about figuring that out.
Let me add something to that to be clear. If you commit a violent crime in this country, if you rape a child, if you commit a murder, if you commit a horrible, heinous crime, we are going to prosecute you here and we are going to keep you here for the rest of your life.
Again, I want to thank General Bondi and Secretary Noem, and I will tell you this. If you, okay, I'm so sorry. The line's long. Yes, ma'am.
I'll say a few things and then I'll let Deputy Director Sheehan answer as well. But this specific facility is going to host the most dangerous criminal illegal aliens in the country. So we are moving individuals from other facilities to this place because it is so secure, because they have a reputation for making sure that when people come here, they don't get out and they aren't able to impact the civilian population outside of these fences and outside of these walls. So yes, those individuals are being moved from other facilities around the country to be here so that they are co-located and that this security here that is so excellent can continue to overwatch on them. I would say that we move people to other detention facilities for logistics, based on what country they're being repatriated home to, where flights are going, what we need to do to build efficiencies, and we will continue to do that as we need to deport people out of the country and to take them back home.
Any more? One more? Last question.
This has been on track. We've been working with the governor of Louisiana here for a long time, talking about this and seeing what we could do to put a presence here in Louisiana beyond what we already had. It's a different facility than Alligator Alcatraz. And listen, we're going to comply with judges' orders, but we're going to continue to appeal those decisions because we believe that was an activist judge who made a wrong decision. And we're going to continue to build partnerships with states and with local law enforcement because we find that the standards that are being met, our federal detention standards, are excellent. These states are making decisions that are good run facilities that are also more accountable, lower cost, and are responsive. They can be shorter term contracts and they can be very, moved place to place based on where the need is as far as where we're returning people home to.
Again, I want to thank the President. I want to thank Secretary Noem. I want to thank General Bondi. And as she said, regardless of whether you're in the country conducting criminal, illegal activity, or you are an American conducting violent criminal activity, if you do it in Louisiana, they are going to be working with me to put you in a jail just like this. Thank you so very much.
All righty, so the Louisiana lockup. Got it. That's what we're going to be talking about. That's where these people are headed. I'm sure they'll be in court tomorrow, or as fast as they possibly can. Hey, before we wrap up, I got a couple clips I want to show you. One of them, you're going to thank God you live in America. But this first clip is, I hope it sounds okay. This is J.D. Vance after he went to the funeral or the service for the kids that were shot and killed up in Minnesota. So let's listen to this, and if it's not sounding right, I'll go ahead and see if I can't raise it up.
I have never had a day that will stay with me like this day did, because I really felt like these parents, in the midst of the worst grief of their entire lives, they opened up their lives and they opened up their hearts and they made me part of it. So I'd ask a couple of things, straight from the parents and straight from the families to my fellow Americans. First of all, while 2 kids lost their lives, there's still 1 kid that's in very serious condition, and every single family, the family of Lydia, who luckily recovered, but we visited her in the hospital, the family of the 2 who died, Harper and Fletcher, all 3 of those families said, please say a prayer. So to my fellow Americans, if you're the praying type, say a prayer for this innocent girl who's actually in surgery right now, that the swelling will go down, that she will be okay, because she's still in a fight for her life, and every single family to a person is desperate that the death toll, which currently is at 2, stays at 2. And I think if you're a praying type, you ought to say a prayer for this innocent young girl. The second thing that I'd say is, look, I'm speaking to my fellow Americans who are parents in particular. There is nothing that you can say that can take away the grief that these parents are dealing with. There is no word that can possibly describe the feeling or the emotion or the heartbreak. One of the ways that I'm going to try to honor these parents and the children that they lost is by being a better dad and hugging my kids tight tonight and making sure that they know that their dad loves them, because there are 2 families who are not going to get that opportunity ever again. And if you do have kids, if you're lucky enough to have a son or a daughter, make sure that they know that they love you. Make sure that you hug your kids tight, because there are families in Minneapolis who won't be able to do that ever again.
Man, that is so tough, so tough. And as usual, there's always going to be a reporter somewhere that asks a stupid question. Again, I haven't heard these. I downloaded them raw, so let's listen in here.
On the Venezuela vessel strike, what legal authority were you guys working under, and will there be an after report on the strike?
He's gone to a funeral of a mass shooting, and they're asking him about, hey, what happened with the people you blew up yesterday? These people, I can't take them.
Well, I'm sure there's going to be an after report. I mean, the legal authority, and I want to talk about these kids, is that there are people who are bringing, literal terrorists, who are bringing deadly drugs into our country, and the President of the United States ran on a promise of stopping this poison from coming into our country.
Man, I'm going to see if I can download this entire interview. I'm sure Live on Fox or somebody has, but that, I cannot believe the man just went to a funeral for people who were killed in a mass shooting by one of your peoples. Yeah, you didn't ask about that, but you want to know, under what authority do you have to bomb people? Yeah, you people. All right, so here's another one. I'm not sure, again, how it sounds. Let's hear.
Mr. Vice President, I know the parents want us to honor the lives of their children, and can we do that while we look into the root cause of some of these shooters? For example, this shooter was emulating the Nashville shooter, who also identified as transgender and who also targeted Christian kids. What can we learn from that, and should we be investigating people who are experiencing gender dysphoria and or exhibiting signs that they might be targeting kids?
Well, certainly we should be investigating people who are planning on targeting kids, and I think that one of the unfortunate lessons of this particular shooting is that this person who showed clear signs of derangement slipped through the cracks. And I actually talked with the families about this. I talked with the principal and the pastor about this. There is broad recognition, and it's interesting. Every single parent I spoke to wants something to happen. Every single parent I talked to, we didn't talk a lot about politics as such, but I get the sense they came from a wide diversity of political perspectives. But every single one of them, they were rational, reasonable people despite their grief. I mean, I can't imagine what I would be like in this moment of heartbreak. And all they ask is that we look very seriously at the root causes, that we look very seriously at ways to prevent crazy people who are about to shoot up a school, from getting access to firearms. These are things that a lot of us have talked about for a very long time. These parents are grieving, but they certainly want us to look at everything that we can possibly do so that the next family doesn't have to deal with it.
Wow. They're still looking for motives? They're still trying to figure out what's going on? Yeah, we can pretty much tell you, you just don't want to hear. But if that weren't bad enough, at the end of what's about to be a 6 hours worth of show, 6 hours, 3 today, 3 at this show, and then 2 at 15 minutes earlier, 6 hours thereabouts. This one's going to take the cake for it to end this show. And again, thank your lucky stars you're in America, because I feel so bad for the people of Canada.
In the unlikely event that you find yourself the victim of a home invasion, we are urging citizens not to take matters into their own hands. While we don't want homeowners to feel powerless, we urge you to call 911 and do everything you can to keep yourself and loved ones safe until police arrive, and be the best witness possible. This could mean locking yourself in a room away from the perpetrators, hiding, fleeing the home, but don't engage unless absolutely necessary. But as it stands, we know the best defense for most people is to comply, as you've just heard a number of safety recommendations.
The best defense is for you to comply. Give up the goodies and just sit back and go hide in a closet. Wow. Well, I pray for people in Canada. You have no defense. You got to hope the cops get there. If they don't get there, you're pretty much screwed. He actually said that. He just said that. Oh my God, can we just annex Canada? Most want to join anyway. After hearing that, they're probably going to say, can we do something? These people crazy. You can't. That's what having no guns does. Just comply. That's your best defense, comply. Your television, no big deal. Just let it go. Your kids, you know, if they kidnap your kids, yeah, get them, make another one. What in the hell are these people talking about? What the heck? Oh, hell no. Call 911. Nope, not in a small town. No. What in my best Samuel? That's a great comment. Say what? Your best defense is to comply. Oh my gosh, it's a gangster's paradise. Just do whatever you want. Even the chief of police told you, back off, give him your stuff. Oh my goodness. Oh heck no, wake up Canada. They will only get lead here. Oh my goodness. Yeah, yes, Dion, he said that. Go run and hide. That is exactly what he just said. He just gave the word to the criminals, go out and get you some. I feel bad they were laughing, but did he really just say that? Did he just say, yeah, okay, let's just hear.
There's hiding, fleeing the home, but don't engage unless absolutely necessary. But as it stands, we know the best defense for most people is to comply, as you've just heard a number of safety recommendations.
Oh, President Trump has got the National Guard trying to stop people from killing everybody, and these people up there are like, yeah, just give it up. In fact, at this point, you don't even have to break and enter. Just knock on the door, like, move out the way. I'm coming to take your stuff. By the way, you got any food too? We're taking everything. Just go hide in a closet. You can kiss my goody Google. Oh my gosh. What? Bar the door, Canadians will be migrating south. After that, I don't even know which what do you call it? Province that is. But wow. Is UMass on lockdown? I don't know if it's on lockdown, but they did have a video, which I can't show here, of somebody walking around, supposedly, because there's been a bunch of hoaxes, supposedly walking around with a long gun. But I can't confirm whether or not it's on lockdown or not. People. How many of these things are false flags? How many of these things are people trying to do some reconnaissance? Who knows? Anyway, it can get crazy. All right, let me do super chats and bid you adieu for tonight. All right. Al Phelps, great work, Mr. Berry. Thank you. Buddy Sanders, thanks to all you do. Thank you. Donna, I went to a Marshall Tucker outdoor concert and we sat on a blanket with a picnic lunch right up front. Maybe you can play his music. His. That was so funny because people used to say that all the time. There's nobody named Marshall or Tucker in the band. It never has been. But sort of like Leonard Skinner. Which one's Leonard? There's no Leonard and there's no Skinner. But anyway, yes, I would love to play some Tucker. Old Tucker, too. Macon Blankenship. Yeah, I was in that concert mind frame in the 70s and lived my life around the music. Yeah, back in the day. Eric Sims. Barry, you should look into having Charlie LaDuff from Detroit on. He's an interesting journalist. Ashley's watching. She can put that down. Did you ever know Danny Barry from Polygram? Nope, never knew him. Chapo. Funny, prisons are full of people who made a mistake. Tell it to the jailer. Exactly. He's talking about Lisa Cook saying she made a mistake. Condition based. The only reason why these judges are testing the waters is because the Supreme Court doesn't get back together until the first Monday in October. Yep. But then you know what I would do? Just ignore them till October. Your judgment means nothing. We've appealed. Tania, I don't know how the left can sleep at night, being so shady. Fume Drummer, let's pay Harvard $1 per year for 2.2 billion years and bring it to them in pennies. Moshe, because we live in the I generation. Everything coming to me. We look for instant gratification and don't want to have to work. Yes, I understand that. Donna, we the people should be able to vote on controversial matters that involve us, U.S., or that the Democrats are fighting like Trump bringing ICE to our city. Exactly. Nicholas Cervani, opening my food cart tomorrow. I still work full time, but the cart is extra to help bring my family some breathing room. It's in Bend, Oregon. I love ceviche. Ooh, ceviche. I can't eat it, but Robin loves her some ceviche. Good luck. Rick Williams, Barry Rock Music. I've said before, The Warning is a band of three sisters from Mexico. Write their own music in English. Live is their strong point. The Pepsi Center concert is a good start. Better English and grammar than you or I. Okay, The Warning. Okay. Brian Newland, my moment in culinary art school. I worked at Kentucky Derby. My ovens went down and I took holding hot boxes into rotisseries and got all the parties out. You go. Star Miffin, I am a 68-year-old African American whose parents and granddaughters were Republicans. Like you, I think differently than many people who look like. Yep. Be encouraged. Thank you. Metalhead. Love the name. Second job, 25 years. HVAC, paid vacations, cars, and toys. Good for you. Madeline Mack. Thank you, Barry. You're so smart. Great information. Thank you. I try. Brian, at Kentucky Derby, I was cooking beef tenderloin. I took sterno, placed them in the bottom, and cooked the tenderloins rotisserie style. Man, you got people. It's 6:50. People getting hungry. That's nice. Rick Williams, where'd they go? Find your pen. Write down The Warning. Will be on your playlist. Okay, look. Here's the pad, and here's the pen. The Warning. I shall look them up, just because you told me to do so. The Warning. Got it. Knucklehead, no notes, unlike Goobers and Chirac, exactly. Jennifer's, again, another press conference where the Republicans come out and say what they mean right from the heart, whereas everything that the people in Chicago had to say yesterday was notes, scripted. Jennifer said, prepare for Canadian crime stats to soar. You got that right. Dana Lane, love the talk of prosperity and opportunity after last night's movie. Who wants to start a Millstone production company with me? And I hope John Rich's song kind of put a exclamation point on that. Madeline Mark, Barry, thank you for bringing important information to us. God bless. Thank you. God bless you. And Sonia Brown, the Canadian video was in Ontario. Okay, so that was the chief of police in Ontario. Whoa, man, that's kind of scary. That is absolutely scary. All right, everybody, thanks for hanging out for 2 shows today. Hope you enjoyed the interview with John Rich. I thought it was just awesome, and thanks for indulging me as I went down a little personal history there. But we shall see you. Let me see. I'm not really sure. Won't see Trump's schedule till like 9. But tomorrow's Thursday, so it might be press conference time. I'm thinking we're going to see a press conference at 1. If that's the case, then I'd go live at 12:30. I will see you guys tomorrow.
Kristi.